Before I formally start tonight's program, I just wanted to let you know that I am going to take a rest from this channel for 1 week, maybe 2. I just need a break from old time radio for a little bit to stay refreshed and to search and organize shows for 1942. I will be doing some uploads on the newspaper channel though. Thank you guys for your support, and most of all, thanks to my wonderful wife, Baby Doll, for her understanding as this project takes a ton of time we could be spending together. Love you all. Now for the show. Good evening and welcome to Friday, March 28th, 1941. I'm Henry Chop, your host, and we have a lot of stuff tonight, some great stuff tonight. I will tell you about that in just a little bit. If you enjoy the content on this channel, not only subscribe, but please donate to its upkeep. Because of the vintage old-time radio, films, and music that we feature, this channel does not qualify for YouTube monetization. Help motivate us to keep posting this wonderful content and seeking out more. We'd like to think that this channel is more interesting than any other nostalgia channel of a similar type. Help us keep going by donating. In the description section of this video, you will find a secure link to PayPal. Any little bit helps. Thank you for your support. If you love old-time radio, film, and music, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications as to when a new upload will premiere. If you are interested in World War II as much as I am, check out our other channel, the World War II newspaper channel. Expand the description section to this video and you will see a link that will take you there. Now I'd suggest listening to the latest upload to decide if it's your thing. Over there, you will hear the Chicago Tribune read to you for between 90 minutes to 2 hours. You will get a much more detailed look about what it was like to actually live through World War II than I can give you just by sharing radio broadcasts. You will not only hear detailed news of the big battles and historical events, you will hear trivial facts about the war. You will hear news from the United States home front from the early stages of U.S. mobilization and war protests to Pearl Harbor and the ramping up of the war machine to the final victories and reconversion. You will hear every facet of American life change forever. Well, tonight we are going to start out with the news of the world over NBC. This was the morning newscast. It aired in Chicago over NBC Blue at 7 in the morning. So that would be what you would be listening to, maybe possibly on your way to work, but a lot of people still worked relatively close to home during this era. So maybe you would be listening to it over the breakfast table as you're getting ready, maybe shaving if you had a portable radio, or you'd turn up if you had a house. So you might not do this in an apartment because your neighbors would be knocking on the wall, but maybe you turn up the living room radio so you can hear it in the bathroom or whatever. Maybe if you were a woman, you're getting the kids ready for work and you might have the news on. Chances are, I would think in many cases, you would maybe be listening to music if you were doing a lot of that stuff, but maybe you had some concerns over the world, right? So CBS would have their newscast on at the same time, but we do have the NBC version of this. Okay, anyway, then we're going to move up to 4:30 in the afternoon with the Lone Ranger and Slow Freight. And then following Slow Freight on the Lone Ranger, now I flipped The Adventures of Superman and Mandrake the Magician. I will explain that. I briefly explained it yesterday. I'll explain it for sure tonight. The reason I did that was Mandrake still was not found in the Chicago radio listings. I couldn't find it in there. And I actually was looking through the Chicago radio listings because I wanted to find out the times on a couple other programs. And as I was going through the primetime listings, I happened to see Superman in there, which I previously had thought was not aired in Chicago, but apparently it was. But it was aired during prime time instead of the after school hours. And Superman was still syndicated at this time, and it was on WGN, the mutual outlet, but it's strange that it was at 7:15 in the evening. So right in the middle of prime time for some odd reason is when they put it, and not amongst all the other serials, Captain Midnight, Jack Armstrong, Orphan Annie, Dick Tracy, I think was still on at this time, even though I don't have any recordings of it. And so many others, Terry and the Pirates come to mind. Just so many others, Paragon, and just a lot of these guys, the juvenile heroes. But they put Superman at 7:15 in the evening, so you're listening to Superman after dinner, and then your dad says, hey, we're going to change the dial now for information, please. And Elsa Lancaster is the guest on Information Please tonight at 7:30 in the evening. And then right after Information Please, you're going to beg your dad to change the dial again at 8 o'clock over to NBC Blue because it's Gangbusters. And on tonight's episode of Gangbusters, it's the nickel and dime bandits. Well, with inflation today, they'd be probably the $10 and $20 bandits. But back then it was the nickel and dime bandits. And then following that, at 8:30, now you'd be upstairs maybe doing your homework while your parents were listening to this because you might not have had too much of an interest in this. We have a great Everyman's Theater program. Now this show does not have an opening or closing. It was sponsored by Oxidol, no commercials either. And it is a great play written by Arch Obler. Now many of you women out there could relate to this. It's the episode of this program is titled Baby, and basically what the plot is, a woman goes to her doctor and finds out she's pregnant and has to go home and tell her husband. And Arch Obler, boy, he's known for horror programs, but this is a great example of his dramatic writing. And it is just a great story, and she's walking home from the doctor wondering how she's going to tell her husband and what he will say. And many of you older folks that might have been born around the early 1940s might be able to relate to this in a way that could have been your parents back in 1940, 41, 42, and the thoughts that went through their minds during this era. So it is a really, really cool story, and I think you will enjoy it. And of course, I think I forgot to mention, how could I forget to mention what we're going to watch in just a second? We're going to watch The Green Hornet Strikes Back, the movie serial. We have to have our weekly movie serial. So for a Friday, we have just a whole heck of a lot of stuff today. It is really cool that we can go from 7:15 in the evening with Superman all the way up to 9 o'clock, the conclusion of Everyman's Theater, and just have basically all of prime time. Well, you know what? I've got the projector threaded. I've had it threaded. I have the sheet up on the wall. Let's watch The Green Hornet.
getting away with that truck. After them. Stop this truck.
The rope, Hornet! Catch it!
Oh, thanks.
That was a very bad place to fall.
It could have been worse. I jumped just as the truck went over the edge.
The men who were fighting with you in the truck?
They're still alive. I saw the guard pulling the driver who was gassed out of the cab.
The police?
They'll get the hijackers and the truckload of silk. Come on.
And when I finally broke the cords they had me tied with, I was going to call the police when I heard a siren and along they came.
Yes, Michael. As soon as I escaped, I called the police and told them to go out to the farmhouse. Well, that's another racket smashed.
You know, there's just one thing that troubles me. When I finally got my eyes open, this was in front of me.
The seal of the Green Hornet. That's odd.
Odd, you say? By gory, it's magic.
Yes, all right. I guess we can depend on those truckmen.
Sure, they don't know a thing.
Our agent across the border is waiting for a consignment of 6, 8, and 12-cylinder motors for the equipment of mechanized units.
We can't buy service motors unless we make a statement of their destination.
We're not going to buy them. We're going to collect them.
We won't get away with it if this rag the Sentinel continues to interfere. Did you read that?
Ordine, you talk too much and do too little. You were detailed to take care of Britt Reed months ago.
I'd have got him, too, if the Green Hornet hadn't interfered.
Yes, that's right. The Green Hornet, a lone wolf who plays your own game and makes monkeys out of all of you.
Oh,
that's enough. Now for the getting of these motors. It's got to be done efficiently and quickly, and finished before the police can organize to combat it. I have here a list of recent purchases of motors of the type we need, with duplicate keys to the door and ignition of their cars.
Okay, send in Lowry, please.
Yes, sir. Chief wants you, Lowry.
This your yarn, Lowry?
Yep, fresh from police headquarters. Boss, that gang struck in every corner of town at the same time. 20 cars disappeared before the police were even on the move.
Well, what do they say down at headquarters?
Oh, the usual thing. Arrest expected any minute.
Evidently, this is the work of the crime syndicate. The fact that only certain types of cars were stolen indicates that they were wanted for some particular purpose.
That's right. I've got a list of the missing cars up to an hour ago.
Good.
So you think your new car's as fast as the Green Hornet?
As fast as it. Sure, I'd overhaul that murdering bandit like his jalopy was tied to a hitching post. Come on out with me now and take a spin. I'll prove it to you.
Sorry, man of action. I have work to do.
Well, tomorrow then.
Okay. If it isn't stolen by then. Of course, you know what's happening to a lot of new cars, don't you?
Take my word for it, Casey. The Green Hornet is behind these car stealings. And 'tis Michael Expert who will be right on his heels.
Mm-hmm.
Croghan's men outside.
Bring them in.
Hello, Haggis.
Hi.
You know Bourdin?
How are you?
Hello. You guys are overdoing this car stealing racket. Why try to get them all at once?
Special order for a certain type of motors. That's why we're here. A lot of the owners of these motors we're after happen to be customers of yours.
Oh, I do only part of it. After all, my racket here is safe. Drinking, dancing, gambling. Relieving careless customers of their fat wallets.
Listen, Haggis. Croghan didn't put you in this dump to run it your way.
I told you Croghan wanted help. Now, if we can't get it from you, we'll make arrangements to take this layout over.
Fellas, I was just kidding. After all, anything Croghan wants done.
That's better.
We'll put a couple of our men here tonight to pick up the cars we want. Your job will be to see that the customers don't make a discovery in time to squawk.
Sure, the car'd do 100 if you hadn't squawked.
If I hadn't squawked, you wouldn't have a car by now.
All right, Casey. Now, just to keep peace in the family, I'll buy you a drink of soda pop.
Haggis isn't the right man to run a place like this.
No, he's got no nerve. I'm surprised the chief put him in charge.
Well, what's the matter? Who are those men?
2 of the murdering thugs that tied me up at Miss Grayson's house. Oh, sure, if I didn't have you here, I could bag them both.
I'm sure you could, Michael.
Well, we better report this place to Reed. Come on. But, Reed, I tell you, I am right. It was 2 of the outfit we met up with at the Grayson house. And they were saying that the boss was making a mistake to let this fella Haggis run the joint.
Haggis? You mean the guy that runs a nightclub on the Camden Road?
Sure, that's the place.
You know him, Lowry? I know the place, but that club angle is just a front for the undercover gambling.
Sounds like the place needs looking over. Michael, suppose you and I go out there tonight.
Well, they'll spot you 2 as reporters and you won't find out anything. Why don't you take me with you and we'll look like real customers?
Sure, Casey wants to step out in the nightlife.
That's a very good idea, too. Case, Michael will call for you at 9 o'clock tonight. I'll be wearing a tuxedo.
Yes, sir.
And that goes for you, too.
Oh, for All right, Reed. Casey's down in the car.
I'll be right down, Michael.
You understand what you're to do, Cato?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Michael. Hello, Case.
Hello.
Let's go.
Remember, you're not going to a fire.
Something more, sir?
Car keys to 6X1941, black sedan.
6X what?
6X1941.
Back seat and keep out of sight. This Case and I are going to look around.
All right, sir.
Reed just drove up. He's going to the club right now with a girl.
Great. This is just the chance we've been waiting for. He mustn't leave here alive.
We've got to take care of Reed's car, Dolan.
Yeah, that won't be so easy. Mike Axford is watching it.
Look like a den of thieves. Looks like a respectable place.
That's what it's supposed to look like. Two, please. We'd better order so we'll look like customers.
Jerry's serving him at a table near the door.
Can't do anything out there.
Have him paged. Tell him he's wanted on the phone in here.
Hey, what are you going to do?
Go on and have him paged.
Shall we dance?
Why not?
All for Mr. Brett Reed.
Here.
Telephone call, Mr. Reed. The phone's in the office over there.
Thank you. I'll be right in. Will you excuse me for a moment?
I don't like this. Nobody knows you're here.
Yes, Cato knows. I'll be right back.
It's coming. The girl went outside. Come in, Mr. Reed. Phone's right here.
Thank you.
Put your hands in the air, Reed. Stay where you are.
What's the meaning of all this?
Shut up. See if he's got a gun.
What's it, Casey?
Come inside, quick. I think Mr. Reed's in trouble.
Get in the car, sister. If you scream, you're finished. Come on, get going.
You interfered with us for the last time, Reed.
Can't be as bad as that. There are too many people in there for a killing.
There isn't going to be any killing here. Where's your car?
Up by the rear door.
All right, get a rope.
You know, I came prepared for trouble. One of my men's waiting outside.
Mike Axford and your secretary have been taken away from here a while ago.
You seem to have planned this very well.
You plan everything well.
Here's the rope.
All right, time up. Go ahead, time up.
What is it, Mr. Brett?
They've carried off Case and Axford.
Carried off? Where?
The Green Hornet has to find out. I'll force one of them to show me where they've taken Case and Axford.
We'll go in this car?
No, I'll go in one of theirs. You follow.
I understand.
You know what Reed's escape means to us. He'll get the police.
No, he won't. Reed won't dare make a move against you as long as we've got Axford and the girl.
If you get him safe. Where were they taken?
To the warehouse where we're packing the motors. Axford goes out of there in a box when we ship him. We'll hold the girl to bring Reed to terms.
You can do what you like with the big Irishman. He's given me plenty of trouble. But I'm cutting in on those stolen motors.
The Green Hornet!
Lower your voice. Now, where are those motors? Talk fast.
All right, Hunt. I'll talk.
Now, you're going to answer my questions.
Don't shoot. I'll tell. The motors are in a warehouse down on Grant Street.
All right, start moving.
Where?
To your car. We're going to that warehouse.
Step on it, you guys. We gotta get these motors on board ship tonight.
What about these explosives?
They go in the other truck. Somebody from the chief. What's this?
A couple of snoopers to be taken care of. Lock the door.
Where's this Grant Street? Where's the warehouse?
6 blocks down, on the left side of the street.
Hey, Dolan. Run this truck in the shed, bring in the red one. We'll load these cases of explosives.
Why don't you try doing some work yourself sometime?
Get going.
There'll be another box aboard that red truck. Go on, get over there, Irish.
You dirty mug, turn the girl loose or I'll...
The girl will be taken care of.
Open up. It's the police.
The police?
Open up.
Stay tuned next for the news.
Good morning to you all. This is the 573rd day of the war in Europe. Our newscasters in England, Germany, and Washington are waiting at their mics, ready to report the latest developments here and abroad. First, let's hear from England. Go ahead, London.
This is London, Ed Doy speaking. London celebrated last night the best day the British have had since the beginning of the war. Restaurants and nightclubs were crowded. Piccadilly Circus at midnight had an after-the-theater pre-war traffic jam. The French, Greek, and Turkish eating places of Soho kept open long after their usual 10 o'clock closing time. The news cheered one man so much, he gave $8,000 to a hospital for 2 beds to be named Churchill and Roosevelt. In spite of the British victories in East Africa, the Yugoslav coup took the main play in the newspapers. Several of the papers had 2 pictures on the front pages, one of King Peter and the other of a piece of cheese, which isn't as funny as it sounds. The new cheese ration comes into effect May 5th, 1 ounce a week per person, and the editors thought it appropriate to show the people just how much or how little they would get. It is about the size of a package of a dozen razor blades. About Yugoslavia, the general sentiment is that Hitler has been outblitzed. The experiences of the last war gave the Germans a healthy respect for the Serbs, and in view of their intense nationalism and fighting qualities, it is considered strange that Hitler used the same methods to strangle them as he did with other countries. The Times believes Ribbentrop badly overplayed his hand. He was dealing with men who could not bind the stubborn will of the Yugoslav people. And the ostentation with which he, Ribbentrop, thrust himself into the forefront of the picture at Vienna will make it particularly difficult for him to minimize the blow to his prestige. The only way out of the predicament is the use of brute force. Hitler doesn't like to squander manpower unless it is absolutely necessary. His troop movements indicate that he is preparing to march into southern Yugoslavia from Bulgaria. It is reported that in addition to demanding an explanation of the change of government, he has asked King Peter about the meaning of the army's mobilization and movement to defensive positions. The wives and children of German officials in Belgrade have been packed into the German legation, which is strongly guarded. Prince Paul is generally assumed to have been directed to the Greek frontier, although there is no definite news. King George of Britain has sent a telegram of congratulations and good wishes to King Peter in Belgrade. Important developments are expected within 48 hours. Hitler will have to extricate himself from a wholly unexpected situation in the shortest possible time. South African and Indian forces didn't stop long at Keren. They are already pushing on towards Asmara. The eastern advance of the German mechanized columns in Libya may in the meantime be slowed up. The magnitude of the failure of the big Italian offensive in Albania recently is emphasized by the news just revealed that the Italian commander on March 23rd enabled the Italians to bury their dead. This is the first request of its kind in the war. London had its first air raid alarm in 180 hours this morning. German planes made for the city, but were driven off by RAF fighters. A lone raider dived out of the clouds and dropped a stick of bombs on a South Coast town. 6 houses were wrecked and there were casualties. The Air Ministry also announced this morning that 2 Heinkels yesterday attacked the convoy in the Bristol Channel. a convoying destroyer, the Leith, shot down one and crippled the other so badly that it was seen to fly off, losing height rapidly. There were no attacks on this country last night. The RAF, meanwhile, battered the Ruhr and the Rhineland industrial areas, especially Cologne and Düsseldorf. Visibility was not good, but one of the bombs, at least, was seen to hit its target. Queues formed outside His Majesty's stationery office this morning, long before opening time. There was a rush to buy a pamphlet telling for the first time the complete story of the Battle of Britain in the air last August-October. It is a thrilling story of the failure of Field Marshal Goering's massed bomber and fighter escort attempt to shatter Britain into capitulation. The attack was made in several phases, it is revealed, and the German tactics were changed frequently. It was known that a handful of RAF fighter pilots turned back this monster attack, but the pamphlet hints that the number of defenders was even smaller than supposed. The pamphlet promises to be a bestseller at 5 cents. As good, indeed, a seller as the British Blue Book on the origins of the war. I return you now to the National Broadcasting Company in New York.
From the Associated Press, the Italian High Command reported today the important walled city of Harar in Ethiopia had been evacuated to avert its bombing and acknowledged British occupation of the Italian fortress of Keren in Eritrea. We've heard the news from England today, next to the Reich, for a report on developments on the other side of the channel. Will you go ahead, Berlin?
Hello, NBC. This is Third Knout speaking from Berlin. News of what has been going on in Yugoslavia will have reached America direct. And what we are interested here is what is being said here about the sensational developments that took place yesterday in Belgrade. The German public was informed of the coup d'etat that resulted in the proclamation of King Peter II and the formation of a new government on the radio last evening. And the news is brought today in all the papers with the names of the new cabinet and the announcement that reserve officers in Yugoslavia have been called to the colors. In view of the space given to the Matsuoka visit, the news from Yugoslavia is not given the prominence it would seem to deserve, and there is no newspaper comment as yet either. Today, the radio brings reports of anti-German demonstrations, and there are stories current of attacks on foreign diplomats in Belgrade, the Swedish minister being named as one of them. Communication with the Yugoslav capital is interrupted, and news of what is actually going on is therefore hard to get. It is noted in official circles here that the proclamation of the new government in Yugoslavia is 90% concerned with matters of domestic politics, that it contains no mention of the three-power pact, and that the question of whether Yugoslavia's adherence to the pact will be ratified or repudiated is not touched upon in any way. In this connection, it is interesting to remember that when Yugoslavia signed up on Tuesday, it was stated with much emphasis here that she did so unconditionally, and that the German and Italian notes that guaranteed her sovereignty and territorial integrity, and that disclaimed any intention of sending in troops, had nothing whatsoever to do with the fact of Yugoslavia's signing the treaty. So these notes would seem destined to stand, irrespective of the final action that Yugoslavia may take in regard to the three-power pact. The official German standpoint is one of reserve until more is known about the situation, it being pointed out that it is not the usual thing for a new government to repudiate the treaty engagements of its predecessors. It is noted that there was popular dissatisfaction with the course taken by the old government, which has now resulted in a change. So far as German interests are attacked, Germany will take the usual steps of submitting a protest and demanding satisfaction for outrages committed against her citizens. Contact has been established with the German legation, between the German legation and the new foreign minister. But the big news in the papers is the Matsuoka visit, which yesterday brought about a long interview with Foreign Minister von Ribbentrop in the morning, a meeting with Adolf Hitler in the afternoon, the appearance of the Japanese visitor before the German public on the famous balcony of the Chancellery on the Wilhelmplatz, and an exchange of addresses at a reception in the evening at the Hotel Esplanade. Today, Matsuoka is scheduled to meet Dr. Goebbels and Economics Minister Funk, and there will be a luncheon given by a party not as yet named and a reception at the Japanese embassy in the evening. Tomorrow, Matsuoka is to meet Vice Marshal Goering. No date for his departure has as yet been set. Throngs of curious people are at hand at all times to see the Japanese statesman, and there is much display of hearty cheering whenever he makes an appearance. All the external arrangements for his stay in Berlin seem to be working perfectly. The military communique today reports the sinking of 3 British merchant ships of 15,000 tons altogether on the southwestern shore of Wales by 3 German planes who attacked a convoy. 5 more are said to have been damaged. The British entered western Germany with what are described as a weak formation last night and damaged houses and killed and injured civilians in places that are not further specified. In their raid, the British are said to have lost 3 planes and 3 more elsewhere against 1 German machine missing. The Italian communique reports the capture of Keren by the British after a battle that lasted 6 weeks and the abandonment of the important town of Harar in Abyssinia to save it from bombardment. Paul Schaffer of New York has a long article in the Deutsche Allgemeine Zeitung today in which he quotes Henry Luce in Life and Francis Brown, and with all the understanding which he manifestly has of American currents, he comes to the conclusion that America is in for expansion on her own account, and that the isolationists are fighting a lost cause. But he refrains from saying that we are getting into the war. This is Theodore Knaut speaking from Berlin and returning you to NBC.
That's the news from across the Atlantic. Now Earl Godwin gives you his report from our newsroom in Washington.
Good morning, folks. Washington's entire attention this morning is focused on the strike situation, following the dramatic warning late yesterday afternoon by Chairman Sumner of the Judiciary Committee of the House that his committee, which has before it a mass of anti-strike legislation, is ready to send enemies of the country to the electric chair, whether found in field or factory. Despite that dramatic utterance, Summers did not advocate immediate anti-strike legislation, declaring that public opinion can do a better job to keep down useless and unnecessary strikes than a mere law. But Sumner warned that this country is being led along the same path down which France went to ruin. Strikes in defense industry, he warned, are dangerously depleting our own strength. He said we have our Maginot Line, which is the Navy, and that the Navy may be sunk. And Sumner's made the flat prediction that we are headed for war, and said it is childish to believe the only way we can get into a war is to start shooting first. Apparently, Mr. Sumner's believe that this country may be attacked. Severe anti-strike legislation was introduced in the House. Representative Cox of Georgia would amend the draft law to draft workmen and office personnel if necessary. And Representative Howard Smith of Virginia asked to revive his investigating committee's powers so as to delve into the records of current strikes. A sharp difference of opinion flares between CIO Chief Murray on one side and Messrs. Knudsen and Knox, Secretary of the Navy, of course, on the other. Mr. Murray wanted to know by what right Knudsen and Knox cracked down on the Alice Chalmers situation. Knudsen and Knox replied, it wasn't a crackdown, it was an appeal to patriotism. And anyhow, said they had found out there were so many forged ballots in the original strike vote out there in Milwaukee that the balloting, in their opinion, was a fraud anyhow. With the new mediation board, 11 members, will get down to brass tacks this morning to select personnel to start the smoothing out processes on the 4 big strikes which the Secretary of Labor has certified cannot be settled by the ordinary means of the mediation machinery set up by the government. Meantime, Washington hears that anti-strike sentiment has cropped up in 2 state legislatures. Oklahoma and Texas have passed bills restricting labor activities in defense industries. However, Senate Democratic leader Barkley voices a moderate note. Barkley says that while the nation cannot allow the defense labor situation to drift along, he believes no action should be taken until the new mediation board is given a chance to prove its worth, and incidentally, that is orthodox administration sentiment at this town at this moment. And when the Senate Appropriations Committee meets this morning, it will discuss the largest farm bill in all our history, a bill that carries more than $1.3 billion in cash and $275 million authorized for loans to farmers. This farm bill is backed by that powerful Senate farm bloc which demands that farmers share with industry and labor in the prosperity from defense spending. And according to the farm bloc, defense has not yet brought profit to the farms. And Earl Godwin says goodbye to you. That's all the news from Washington at this time.
Each day, NBC keeps you informed on events in this rapidly changing world. This program is heard over most of these stations each weekday morning at the same time. Listen to it, and you will always keep abreast of late developments in world affairs. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Stay tuned next for The Lone Ranger.
Horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver, the Lone Ranger. The coming of the railroad and the discovery of gold in the hill country started a new wave of emigration to the western United States. But with the miners and prospectors came criminals and gunmen. The mining towns ran wide open, and a man's life depended on the quickness of his draw. It was the masked rider of the plains who put an end to violence in the gold country. It was his strength and courage, his daring and resourcefulness, that blazed the trail for progress and made possible the winning of the West. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again. Come on, Silver! We're on the trail of Scar and his gang. Santa's waiting at Rainbow Creek. Oh, Silver, away! A spur line ran from the mining camp on Rainbow Creek down the hills to the junction. The Friday night freight was due to leave. A masked man stood beside a great white horse in the shadows at the side of the station. He watched the agent and the conductor lift a heavy box to the platform of the caboose, and then carry it inside. The masked man turned his head. A moment later, an Indian reined up beside him and dismounted.
The gold's on board, Tonto.
Plenty gold.
The biggest shipment that was ever sent from Rainbow Creek.
We right now?
Not yet. I want to see if the train will carry any passengers. Then we'll ride on ahead.
Find Scar?
He was here 2 days ago. He must know about the gold. I believe he'll try to get it.
Him hold up train?
Yes, Tonto. With all the curves and the hills on the run, he'll have any number of chances. But not before Springville.
We ride fast. Get to Springville 4 train.
And there's no hurry. You see those empty cattle cars? They're taking on a shipment at Springville. Unless they break a record, they won't get there before tomorrow morning.
We get there before then.
Of course. Silver and Scout are more than a match for that engine through the hills.
There's
someone coming toward us.
Want to see him any time in Rainbow.
It's Wild Bill Garrison, the gambler.
Hello there, stranger. It's a nice horse you've got.
Steady, boy.
The masked.
I'm not an outlaw.
Don't worry, I'm not going to ask any questions.
Would you mind answering a few?
Well, that depends. I don't mind listening to them.
Are you leaving the camp?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I like to play cards, and the boys won't play with me anymore. But don't misunderstand. I had a run of luck, that's all. I'll give you $1,000 for that horse.
He isn't for sale.
Would it make any difference if I boosted the ante?
None at all.
That's what I thought you'd say. How about you, Injun?
No, me not sell Scout.
All right. You don't have to get sore about it. You can't blame me for not wanting to ride that choo-choo.
That's all we need to hear, Tonto. Yep. Come on.
What do you mean?
Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
Silver. He called his horse Silver.
Hey, Bill.
Coming, Anson. You ready to start?
Well, it'll be a while, and the engineer's having some trouble. What do you want to ride that caboose for?
I don't.
It's going to take us about 28 hours to make the run. There's cattle to load at Springville.
I don't want to ride with you, but I can't buy a horse.
Oh. Well, look. There's the Mason Ranch between here and Springville. We could drop you off there. Jim Mason could fix you up with a horse.
Say, you sure don't care much for my company, do you?
Oh, it isn't that, Bill. You'll be more comfortable.
You're right. Drop me off.
Now you're talking. I wouldn't have my worst enemy ride that caboose.
How much one way to the junction, Anson?
$2.
Here you are.
Well, is Linda your worst enemy, Anson?
I don't have to tell her what this trip will be like. Besides, she can't buy a horse.
Perhaps you'd like me to stake her.
I'd like you to mind your own business. Are you taking this train?
Only as far as Mason's Ranch.
Good. The less conversation we have, the better pleased I'll be.
That's what comes of trying to give a lady good advice, Anson.
I don't need your advice.
It was my mistake. I presumed on a friendship which evidently didn't exist.
I'm getting on board. How long before we start?
All set. There's your answer, right now. Just about on time. Hand me the landing, Bill.
Sure.
What?
That train behind us. We go faster?
No, Tonto. We'll hold this pace. Nothing's going to happen between here and Springville. And if the train should happen to pass us on this level stretch, we'll pass it again as soon as the engine hits a grade.
Huh?
Well, that looks like a campfire up ahead.
That is so.
But it's in the middle of the tracks.
That's right.
Isn't Jim Mason's ranch over this rise to the north? Perhaps it's a signal fire, Tonto. You may want the train to stop.
There's somebody next to fire.
Yes. It isn't Jim. Looks like a woman. She's heard Silver and Scout.
Woman run away.
And there's nothing strange about that. She must think we're outlaws.
We go after her?
We're friends, ma'am.
Let me alone. Let me do something else.
We aren't going to hurt you.
I can't do it anymore.
She's fallen.
That baby cry.
Don't cry, honey. Mommy won't let him touch you.
Ma'am.
Leave me alone. Can't you see I have a baby?
We only want to help you.
You're masked. You belong to Scar's gang.
And that isn't true. You're Mrs. Mason, aren't you?
You ought to know.
You want the train to stop?
Don't make fun of me.
Tonto, get back to the track. Stop the train.
Time to do it.
And let me help you up.
Love of mercy, haven't you done enough? You've killed my husband. You've burned our ranch. If it weren't for the baby, you could kill me too, but you need someone to take care of her. Please, if I get to the junction, I'm going to take a train back east. I won't make any trouble, I promise.
We'll see that you get to the junction.
You will?
There's no time to explain my mask, but I'm not an outlaw.
You really mean it?
I'm doing my best to bring Scar and his gang to justice. Now let me help you up.
If you just hold the baby.
Of course.
I'm all right.
The train's stopping. But before we put you on it, I wish you'd tell me just what happened tonight.
I'll take it now.
Scar and his gang raided your ranch?
It was just after dark when they came. They wanted horses. And when Jim tried to stop them, Scar...
It was Scar who did it?
Yes. I saw him from where I was hiding in the cottonwoods. One of the men was carrying a torch and it lit up his face. And they set fire to the house.
Do you have any money?
Some. I took all we had when I ran out of the house with the baby.
That you, Miss Mason?
Yes, Anson. I want to go to the junction.
I got a passenger here that wants to buy a horse from Jim.
Oh.
What's the matter?
There are no horses at the Mason ranch. They've all been driven off. And Jim has been killed.
Scars work?
Yes. And take care of Mrs. Mason, conductor.
Sure, but you're wearing a mask. Maybe she...
I got a hunch we don't have to worry about that. Step right up, ma'am.
You must be tired. Can I hold the baby?
You?
I'm sorry.
Now, in here, ma'am. We'll make you comfortable.
Springville's closer than the junction. We'll drop Miss Mason there.
You'll take her to the junction. She wants to train for the East.
Oh. Well, maybe she'll change her mind. What?
We have our work cut out for us, Tonto.
What we do?
We'll cross the rise and head to the Mason Ranch. Then we'll pick up Scar's trail. We'll follow it wherever it leads. Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scar.
The freight reached Springville the following morning. The loading of the cattle began. By that time, the Lone Ranger and Tonto had ridden far beyond the town. The outlaw trail led them away from the railroad and deep into the hills. At noon, they reined up. They camped here, Tonto. How old is the campfire?
Maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Which way did they ride after they left here?
Sign over there.
Come on, Silver. I see it now. There must be nearly 20 of them.
That's right. Then go south.
Back to the railroad. It means they're after the gold, Tonto. But we still have time. It's only 12 o'clock. So the train hasn't left Springville yet. They've just about finished loading the cattle.
Hi-yo, Silver, away!
Mason, what is it? I don't blame you for not having much use for me. I'm no lady like you are, but there's something I'd like to tell you for your own good. Really? You ought to get off the train before we leave Springville. Why? Well, you're tired. You ought to rest up a while before you go any farther.
I had no place to go here.
There's plenty of folks to take you in. Bill, you'd find someplace for, wouldn't you? You'd stay behind.
I'm at your service, Mrs. Mason. If there's anything I can do,
There isn't. That man coming across the platform is the only friend I have around here.
He's a rancher, isn't he?
Yes, it's his cattle they've been loading. He'll be traveling with us.
Another one, huh?
What was that?
I'm glad you'll have a friend along.
Thank you. Hello, Checkers.
Hello, Sally. I looked in here once before, and you were sleeping. I'm sorry about last night.
I know. You don't have to tell me. Just sit down here beside me.
Yeah. How's the baby?
She's fine.
Well, there's Anson coming out of the station. We'll be starting in a minute.
Why don't you all get out of here?
Huh?
What do I have to do to make you understand?
Understand what?
I can't say anything more. I can't.
I think you'd better, Linda.
No. You've had your warning.
What's the matter with her? Search me. I've given up trying to understand women a long time ago.
Bill, you never tried to do that.
Everybody in here? Sure you don't want to get off, Miss Mason?
I'm going to the junction.
Suit yourself. All aboard? That's trouble.
Hey, conductor. There's a man breaking from the sagebrush on the other side of the tracks.
I see him.
He's heading this way.
Looks like he wants to get aboard. Hurry up!
Checkers,
Yeah?
get your gun ready. The last time I saw that man's face, it was by the light of a torch.
He's one of the outlaws?
One of them, it's Scar himself.
All right, I got your hand. Jump! Thanks, conductor.
Take him up, mister. You're covered.
You aiming that at me, cowboy?
I sure am. Don't make a move, Scar.
Scar?
I'm sure of it.
Tie him up, Anson.
Not me.
You needn't be afraid. He won't try anything.
Who said anything about being afraid?
Is this man a friend of yours?
Well, we work together now and then.
He's a crook, too. Mr. Garrison, you'll help, won't you? There's a coil of rope across the aisle.
I'll be happy to oblige.
Don't reach for it, Bill. I got a gun in your back, and the same goes for you, Checkers. Stick 'em up. You!
Good work, Linda. I couldn't have done better myself.
Grab their gun, Scar.
I got him.
Tie 'em up, Anson.
Yeah.
They're both tough hombres, and we can't take any chances.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. Bill and Checkers were taken prisoner by Scar just as the train left Springville. All afternoon, the slow freight jolted through the hills. The shadows began to lengthen. Miles away, the Lone Ranger and Tonto rode toward a heavily wooded section not far from the railroad.
We're only a few miles from the junction, Tonto. The railroad must be just beyond these woods.
It get dark plenty soon.
Wait, Tonto.
What you see?
Through the trees.
Oh, campfire.
We found the gang, all right.
You ride to town and get sheriff, posse?
We'll have to make sure that Scar's with them first.
It's plenty dangerous. Go close to camp.
I know that, Tonto. There may be another way.
What you mean?
They're waiting for the train. They'll have a guard posted near the railroad.
Oh, capture guard.
It's worth trying. We should be able to make him talk. Come on. We'll circle to the south.
The Lone Ranger led the way around the woods to the railroad. The tracks were climbing here, and at the top of the rise, the figure of a man could be seen leaning against a great pine. His rifle gleamed in the last rays of the setting sun. The masked man raised his arm in a signal to stop.
There he is, Tonto. We'll leave the horses here.
Silver Scout not make any noise.
We'll keep to the cover of the trees.
Him not see us.
It's almost dark, but be careful. Camp's less than 100 yards away.
Tonto, watch out.
On me to guard this doggone.
Quick, Tonto. We'll have to gag him until we get him away.
How to do it?
Up with you. You ready, Tonto? Come on, Silver.
With the outlaw as their prisoner, the Lone Ranger and Tonto raced to the bottom of the long hill. There they found cover in a grove of trees. The gag was taken from the guard's mouth, and the Lone Ranger accused him of taking part in the raid on Jim Mason's ranch.
We're giving you a choice. You'll either be taken to the junction and turned over to the sheriff as the man who killed Jim Mason.
No, it wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Oh, you'll tell us everything you know.
Scar killed him.
Is Scar in the camp?
No.
Where is he then?
I don't know. He's supposed to be on the train.
Oh, that bad.
Left the gang at Springville, Tonto. Well, that's where he must have boarded it.
Maybe him steal gold himself. Not wait for men.
He couldn't. He might have been able to hold up the train and throw the box off, but he couldn't make a getaway. The box is too heavy. He'll use his men.
Can I go now?
Go?
I've told you everything I know.
You'll have to tell us more if you want to save yourself.
You'll turn me over to the sheriff anyway.
Your only chance is to help us catch the rest of the gang. Now, hurry up. I can't waste any more time. Where's the holdup going to take place?
You promise?
I promise that you'll hang with the rest of them if you don't talk. And where's it going to be?
You can see from here.
The top of the hill?
Yeah. That's the end of a long grade. By the time the engine reaches the top, it'll slow down to a walk. They won't have any trouble climbing aboard.
The sheriff will have something to say about that.
You go to junction?
Right away. Now bring the sheriff and a posse back. They'll surround the gang and catch them in the act.
What about me?
You're coming with me, but you'll stay here, Tonto. Find some cover about halfway up the grade. There's a chance that I won't be able to make it before the train reaches here.
You make it all right.
It's getting late. Watch for the train. And if we haven't returned, warn the engineer before he gets to the top.
Tonto, wait for you.
Into the saddle.
Listen, I didn't have anything to do with Jim's murder.
Move.
All right.
Halfway up the grade, Tonto.
And Tonto, no.
The Lone Ranger urged the great horse through the night. When the junction was reached, he turned his prisoner over to the sheriff. The lawman rounded up a posse. The freight train neared the hill where the outlaws were camped. At one end of the caboose, Garrison and Checkers lay on the floor, roped hand and foot. Mrs. Mason sat near them, her little daughter cradled in her arms. At the other end of the car, Anson, Scar, and Linda completed their plans.
How much longer before we get to the big grade, Anson?
15 minutes. I've been wondering about those two men and the woman.
You can stop right now. I've got it all worked out.
They can't hurt us. Why not just let them go?
Not on your life.
You're going to take them with us?
You'll have to take the engineer and fireman, Linda.
Not if you use a gun on them.
I'd like to do this without any gunfire. The top of the hill's pretty close to the junction. They might hear the shots.
All right. Take the engineer and the fireman with us, but there's the baby. What about her?
I told you I had it figured out.
You're not going to hurt her.
Look, right now we get the gold out of this car and onto the roof of the next one.
What for?
Because halfway up the grade, the coupling on this caboose is going to break. It'll roll down the hill and smash up. We'll get rid of the woman and the two men without firing a shot.
No.
Shut up. There's no need for them to know what's going to happen till it does.
Sounds good to me. We'd better start with that box right now.
There's more than the three of them. There's the baby.
Linda, you've been a lot of help on this job. Don't spoil it.
It's murder. You said there wouldn't be any killing.
There wasn't supposed to be anybody riding the train.
I won't let you.
Look out, Anson.
Wait.
She pulled a gun on
What's the idea?
Thought I'd wait until the whole gang could be caught. But I'm not going to be a party to murder.
You gone loco?
You're the one who's loco. You were loco to trust me. Do you know who I am, Scar? Look at me. Don't I remind you of somebody?
Scar.
Harvey Ashland, Scar. I'm Harvey Ashland's sister. I was in the East when you killed him. You never saw me, but when I got back here, I swore that you'd pay for his death. That was over a year ago. Been looking for you ever since, but it wasn't until I hit the rainbow that I got my chance.
You like to talk, don't you?
I want you to know why I'm shooting you. You dry ghost, Harvey, shot him in the back, but this is going to be face to face.
Linda, look out for Anson.
What? My wrist, don't let go of her, you...
Steady, Miss Mason.
Let go of her.
I guess we'll have to tie them both up, Anson.
Yeah, there are a couple of wildcats. I'd better...
Don't you... You're hurting me.
Yeah, she's fainted. I can have my hands free now.
That's it. Put her on the floor.
You beast.
Don't worry, Miss Mason. You need a few ropes to make you behave, but we won't bother the baby. But put her on the seat beside you.
Go ahead, kill us. Get it over with.
How long before the grade, Anson?
We'll be making the curve in 5 minutes. We'll be starting to climb after that.
You, won't have long to wait, Miss Mason.
Circle to the left, Sheriff. Scar's men hidden in those pines. Wait for the train to get to the top before you strike.
Where you going, masked man?
I'm heading down the hill.
Follow me, boys.
As the posse closed in on the gang and the Lone Ranger headed down the grade, Scar and Anson carried the gold out of the caboose and, with the help of a rope, raised it to the roof of the car ahead. The last curve on the run was in sight before the job was finished, and at that moment, Linda recovered consciousness.
Bill.
You're all right now, Linda.
All right. Are they gone? Don't you know what's going to happen?
Yes. They told us before they left.
Where's Mrs. Mason and the baby?
At the back. Oh, it's too bad for them. Checkers had her persuaded not to go east. He was going to see that her home was rebuilt.
It's too bad for us. You understand now, don't you? Why I treated you the way I did in Rainbow?
Of course.
And you forgive me?
You don't have to ask that.
Oh, if we could only get loose.
Don't try, Linda.
We've got to.
Used wire as well as rope.
Listen. We're turning. We're rounding the curve. After the curve, he said we'd start the climb.
Yeah.
We are, Bill. We're starting to climb now.
Steady, Linda. Steady.
You come back, Kimasabi?
Yes, Tonto.
Sheriff come with you?
Yes, he's waiting with his men. We might as well get to the top, so...
What matter?
There's 2 men up on top of that cattle car.
That's right.
What are they doing?
Maybe them walk up front to engine.
But they aren't. Look, one of them's disappeared.
Him dropped down between cars.
What for? Mrs. Mason and her baby are in that caboose. We can't let anything happen to them, Tonto.
Train go plenty slow now. Maybe we get on board.
Come on,
Get him up, Scout.
He's uncoupled the last car. It's rolling down the hill. We've got to get on board and set the brakes. Go fast. Faster, Silver. You jump. I'll have to. That was Mrs. Mason. Come on, Silver. Just a little more and I can make it. Get him up, Scout. Steady now. Hold your stride. I've got to swing over. And that's it, boy. Now. Slowing up some. But it may be too late. No, it's taking hold. Taking hold some. One more turn. That's it. You all right in here?
It's the masked man. Don't let Scout get away.
They're waiting for him. I'll cut your ropes, Bill. And you can take care of the rest of them. Here's the knife. Here, Silver.
You hurry, Kimasabi.
What's up?
Posse gets Scar's man.
Yes?
Scar, another fella. See Posse. Jump off train. Climb bank. There.
That ravine? After them, Silver. That's
the last of the climbing, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
There they are, heading for the woods. Stop or I'll shoot.
Oh, I haven't got a gun. I give up.
That can't be Scar. Take care of him, Tonto.
How's he doing?
Weave, Silver, side to side. And that's it. He'll start shooting in a minute. Come on, Silver. Faster, boy. Now we're close enough.
My hand. Don't I got my gun. You rope me in.
Right. You belong with your men, and your men belong in jail. Get up here.
Hey!
Hello, Silver! Away!
On to the junction.
Just a mile or two more. Oh, I'm ashamed of myself.
Oh, don't be, Linda.
I shouldn't have thought I was equal to those men. I'll never try anything like that again.
You won't have to. You'll have a man to do your fighting from now on.
Mr. Garrison.
Yeah?
If I'm going to change my name, you're going to change yours. It isn't going to be Wild Bill anymore. You know, you didn't do any better job against Scar than I did. If it hadn't been for the masked man, well, I don't have to tell you. I've never seen anyone like him in my life. I wonder who he is.
You honestly don't know? I don't. And you can't guess?
No.
Well, Mrs. Mason, when that little girl of yours grows up, you'll be able to tell her that...
Yes?
That once upon a time you met the Lone Ranger.
The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
Stay tuned next for Mandrake the Magician.
Wind of Captain X.
Did submarine blow up, Master?
Yes, Lothar. The submarine blew up with all on board. Here. Let me cut those ropes from your legs.
But how did it happen?
I don't know. But we haven't time to guess now. We can only be thankful that we're still alive. All right. Here, I'll help you get on your feet now, Lothar. Now, man.
Oh, that better, Master.
Yes. I'm sorry I can't cut those wires on your wrists with this knife.
Well, Mr. Mandrake,
Yes, Tommy.
why does Miss Nada sit in that chair as though she were sound asleep?
Hmm?
Gosh, nobody could sleep through that racket. She isn't...
No, Tommy. Nada's not dead. I put her to sleep, you see. Hypnotic sleep when I thought we were all going to die.
Oh, gosh, I'm glad. How about Dorfman? He looks...
No, Dorfman will be all right. I'll make him comfortable on this stretcher. Tommy.
Yes, sir?
Look in that next room over there. See if you can find a pair of pliers or a file. Anything to remove those wires from Lothar's wrist.
Yes, sir. I'll find something to fix Lothar.
Good.
That Tommy, him great boy.
Him not sissy, baby.
No, you bet he isn't. Tommy's got real stuff in him. Better go with him, Lothar.
How about Miss Nada's brother? Him still tied in cellar.
I know, but I want those wires off your wrist first. Then you can both release Sigrid. I think I'll throw this blanket over Dorfman. No need of Nada seeing him.
Barracuda's car is standing behind the shack.
Hmm?
There ought to be tools in that.
Good stuff, Tommy. See if you can find them.
You bet, sir.
That boy not only uses his head, but his eyes, Lothar. You go on out to the car. I'll wake Nada. I doubt if anything can be done for Dorfman, but there was no use telling Tommy that.
Too bad. Dorfman pretty good fella, too.
Nada, you've been asleep. But you're waking now. Waking up in the same world that I put you to sleep in. You will never know how closely death brushed your cheek, Nada. Awake. 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 Invoco legem magiciarum. Open your eyes.
Mandrake.
In person. How are you feeling?
Like I've been in a deep sleep.
And so you have.
Where are we?
Still in the shack on Shore Point.
Oh, that horrible place.
Now, you're all right now, Nada. You're all right.
All right, you say, Mandrake?
Yes, quite all right.
I don't hear it anymore.
What, Nada?
That horrible clock. Ticking away our lives.
The explosion stopped it.
Explosion? I didn't even hear that.
Why, no. No, I put you to sleep so you wouldn't.
Oh, I remember. The tick of the clock was hammering at my temple. Louder and louder. I thought I was going mad.
Yes, you were, Nada.
I'm not bound to the chair anymore.
No, of course. I released you.
Mandrake, you're flesh and blood, aren't you? We're not dead.
No, very much alive, Nada. Thanks to some miracle that even I can't explain as yet.
And Captain X, the submarine, Alex Jefferson.
Met the fate they intended for us. The submarine blew up, just off the point.
I see. Where?
The wire's off Lothar's wrist, sir, and Oh, excuse me.
It's all right, Tommy. I was just going to ask about you and Lothar and my brother, Sigrid.
Oh, they're swell. Your brother's gone down to see if he can get his plane off the ground, and maybe we...
Plane?
Yes, Sigrid's plane is hidden in a clearing quite close by.
Good. You can return to town with Sigrid in the plane, Nada. That'll take part of our transportation problem. Is Barracuda's car in running order?
We're working on it, sir. Lothar and I...
Well, what seems to be the matter with it?
Well, gosh, it needs a magician.
A magician?
That's what Lothar said. Yeah. I thought he was kidding me.
Why did Lothar say the car needed a magician, Tommy?
He said the key to the ignition was gone, but... Oh, I was a dummy to fall for it.
For what, Tommy?
Lothar said to tell you the car keys were missing. And you'd say hocus pocus or abracadabra and piddly-tum and the keys would fall right out of my nose.
Lothar told you that, did he?
Of course. He said if you couldn't do it, he was a pretty good magician himself. He could change the wires and make the car start without a key.
Oh, Mandrake, I'm afraid Lothar's put you on the spot.
I can see him out there at the car now, grinning to himself. You'd never think to look at Lothar that he had a sense of humor. But you see, he takes a fiendish delight in trying to stick me. What's so funny?
Honestly, Mandrake, I wouldn't laugh at you if I wasn't so near hysteria from all we've gone through, but...
What? Speak up. Don't spare my feelings. I, as Lothar would say, am no sissy baby.
Well, it seems so utterly ridiculous after all the wonderful things you've done that you can't produce a simple little thing like the keys to a car.
Oh, I see. You're ganging up with Lothar on me,
I can't help it, Mandrake. Honestly, I can't.
Tommy.
Yes, sir? Yes.
Are you laughing at me, too?
Oh, no, sir. No.
Have I gone down in your esteem as a magician?
Oh, no, sir. Gosh, if Barracuda took his car keys with him and then get himself blown up in the submarine.
Yes?
It'd take a pretty good magician to produce those keys from anybody's nose.
I, Tommy, if I may say so in all modesty, am a pretty good magician. Lend me your nose.
Lend you my... Oh, yes, sir.
Hold still while I grasp it firmly between my finger and thumb. So.
Yes, sir?
Now, this is going to hurt Lothar and Nada more than it does you. Invoco legem magiciarum. Now, puff out your cheeks and blow. And the keys jumped right out from the end of your nose. There you are, Tommy.
Gosh.
Yes, I accept your applause, Tommy. And the speechless bewilderment on Nada's face is well worth the price of admission.
Gosh.
Now, take the keys to Lothar with my compliments, Tommy, and tell him to let this be a lesson to him.
Yes, sir. Hey, Lothar, look.
What Tommy got?
The car keys. He did it. He took them right from the end of my nose, like you said he would.
Lothar tell you master can do. But now Lothar got car fixed, so start without keys.
Oh, yeah? But wasn't that a pretty good trick?
Master, pretty good magician.
Now, get out of here, Lothar, before I turn you into a fly and go after you with a swatter, yes.
Gosh. Hey, come on, Lothar. I bet he could do it.
No, don't run away, Tommy, and leave Lothar. Hear him scared. Lothar not want to be fly.
Lothar wouldn't let me know it for all the money left in the world, but he's the most mystified man in 7 states.
So am I, mystified, Mandrake. Where on earth did you get the keys?
Now, you don't deserve to know after laughing at me. But I'll tell you if you promise not to tell Lothar and Tommy.
Cross my heart.
Well, it was no trick at all. I was free for a few moments earlier in the evening, if you remember, so I simply took Barracuda's car keys out of his car. I thought they might come in handy if we had to make a quick getaway.
Mandrake, you fraud. Aren't you ashamed of yourself?
No, not at all. My reputation was at stake. I was on trial before Tommy. I couldn't let him down, not Tommy. Besides, Nada.
What, Mandrake?
We needed something. We needed something to take our minds off what we've gone through. It's been good to hear you laugh again, Nada. To know that there is still laughter left. It's one of the things we're fighting for, I guess. To bring back laughter to the whole world. With Captain X and the submarine gone, we're one step nearer to universal laughter. One step nearer to the day little children can play in the streets without listening for the drone of an enemy plane overhead that may...
There's a plane now. I want... Oh, it must be secret.
No, it isn't. No, that plane's coming in from the sea and headed straight for this shack. Nada, I'm afraid we're in for more trouble. Those sound like the motors of a giant bombing plane.
Stay tuned next for the adventures of Superman.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman. Look at the sky. Look. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, star reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle against crime and injustice. Mystery and thrilling adventure have filled the lives of Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen on their cruise around the world aboard the last of the clipper ships, the Clara M. In our last episode, we heard how, following a tremendous storm, during which the captain was badly injured, the crew mutinied under the leadership of a sailor named Limey. Only after they had completely taken the ship did Superman step in and save the situation. As our last episode ended, we heard how Teak Barnaby, peg-leg first mate aboard the Clara M, persuaded Clark Kent not to have the men thrown into irons. Our scene is now the crew's quarters of the ship, where Teak Barnaby is talking to the men. Listen.
Hold. Every last one of you. And the biggest fool of all is Limey there. The man that persuaded you to mutiny.
These men and myself are scared of what's going to happen, that's all. Every man jack of us is wanted by the authorities, you know that. What's going to happen when one of the officers on board the San Jose spots us, eh?
You can all keep out of sight as much as possible.
How can we keep out of sight? The time comes to transfer the old man in the stretch, eh? I can just see it in my mind's eye. A couple of the lads helping to get the captain down into the motor launch they'll send over.
One of the officers in that launch saying something like, "Off a mo, me good fella. Ain't I seen you somewheres before?"
Devil take me, I don't see
You don't see. Well, I do. What happens after that is an investigation, that's what. An investigation of every man aboard this here ship.
There'll be no investigation while I'm master
Yeah,
here.
that's what you say.
You don't believe me, eh?
No, I don't.
Well, then, let me remind you of one thing. When I paid you men to sign on here, I promised you that no harm would come to you. And so far, I've kept my word. You know what Mr. Kent wanted to do with you men? He wanted to turn you over to the officers of the San Jose and have the Clara M escorted into Caracas. You all know what that would mean.
An investigation, that's
You and your investigation. It would mean prison. Prison for the rest of your natural lives. And maybe hanging for some of you.
I tell you, we ain't going to expose ourselves by letting the officers aboard the San Jose spot us.
I said I'd take care of
Well,
that.
that's what you say.
I've got a job to do. And you've all been paid to help me do it. You'll take the ship when I give the word, and no sooner. Do I make my meaning clear? And don't forget it neither. Now, as I was saying... Wait a minute.
What is it?
Quiet. Someone listening at the door. Keep talking. I'll throw this door open sudden like, and we'll find out who it is.
Gosh.
Well, Jim, lad. Come to pay us a visit, did you?
Why, yes, Mr. Barnaby. I thought I'd drop in for a talk.
Right kind of you, lad. But why didn't you walk right in, lad? Afraid to break in on our conversation, were you?
Why, no. That is, I just got here. I didn't even know you were talking to the men.
Of course, there wouldn't be no reason why you shouldn't break in on us. Now, would there?
No, sir, there wouldn't.
Of course not. And, suppose you did overhear a word or two. There'd be no reason to go and tell Mr. Kent. Now, would there?
No, sir, there wouldn't.
Irish, hand me that knife and that whetstone.
Yeah, sure, let Mr. Barnaby admit
Hand me that knife, blast you, and that sharpening stone.
What are you going to do, Mr. Barnaby?
Just going to sharpen this knife, lad. Look at that blade, lad. Nice and long and sharp. It'll be real sharp when I get done with it.
Why are you sharpening it?
Always got to sharpen a knife before you use it, Jim. It cuts cleaner. Does its work quicker.
I guess I'll be getting up on deck now.
Now, don't go. Not yet a while, lad. Stay and talk with me and the boy. That's what you come down here for, didn't you?
Yes, but I...
There. Yeah, she's nice and sharp now. Beautiful knife, ain't she? Just peel the edge of it.
No, thanks.
Well, I guess she's about ready to do the job I planned for her. So then...
Mr. Barnaby, listen. I won't say anything about what I heard. On my word of honor, I won't. I'll forget everything honest. Honest, I will.
Now, lad. What's to get excited about? Had old Teak Barnaby said about sharpening a knife to whittle himself a new leg without you getting excited?
Is that what you're going to use the knife for?
Well, what else would I use it for, lad?
I didn't know.
My wooden leg was bad splintered, you know. I'm just able to get around on it. It won't last much longer. Got to whittle myself a new one. Of course, a knife can be put to other uses, too. For instance, I remember once when I sailed in a good ship, Seawolf, one of the crew talked a little too much. And one morning they found it. Huh? Well, that must be the San Jose. Arrived at St. Captain off at last. Run along, lad, and tell Mr. Kent I'll be on deck in short order. And That's all you tell him. Understand?
Aye, sir. Aye.
Limey, Irish, on deck. I'll be wanting you two to lower the captain overside.
We'll be spotted, that's what. And that's what you're open to.
Keep your faces turned and no one will question you. Get going.
Mr. Barnaby, the lad, do you think he'll talk about where you overheard here?
Have no fear. He'll do no talking. I'll see to that.
Well, Senor Kent, your Capitan is safely aboard our launch, so we shall be leaving you. You are sure there is nothing further we can do for you?
Oh, we're indebted to you as it is, Senor Alvaro. Tell your captain for me how sorry we are to have given him this trouble.
Oh, no trouble. The courtesy of the sea, Senor Kent. Senor Barnaby.
Yeah, senor.
Those two men of yours who assisted in putting your Capitan aboard the launch. One of them I seem to have seen somewhere. Could I have a word with him, please?
Well,
Which one do you mean, Senor Alvaro?
That one there.
Oh, Limey.
Oh, Mr. Kent, Limey's got a good deal to do below deck.
Oh, this will take but a moment, Mr. Barnaby.
Is anything wrong, Senor Alvaro?
Senor Kent, it's just that, No, I must be mistaken.
Huh?
I just thought for a moment...
Yes?
Well, do not worry about it. I was wrong. And the quicker we get your Capitan aboard the San Jose, the better. So I shall be off. Adios, Senor Kent.
Goodbye, and again, thank you for all you've done.
Nothing at all. Muchas gracias.
Well, he's overside, Mr. Kent. We'll be getting underway.
Very good, Captain Barnaby.
We're ship! We're ship! Back to the main braces! You on the mainsail! Up to it, man!
Jim! Oh, Jimmy!
Yes, Mr. Kent?
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong? Why, nothing, sir.
Oh, you can't fool me, Jim. There's something on your mind. During the entire time Senor Alvaro from the San Jose was aboard, you kept in the background, sort of looking as if you wanted to say something and didn't dare.
Did I?
You sure there's nothing wrong?
No. Honest, not a thing.
Well, when you make up your mind to tell me what it is, let me know.
But, Mr. Kent, I tell you...
Jim, I know you too well to be fooled. You're worried about something. Something you feel you can't talk to me about. Well, if you don't want to tell me, well, that's all right. Just remember, though, that I'm ready to help you any time I can.
Gosh, Mr. Kent, it isn't that I don't want to tell you, but
Well, then why don't you tell me
We're
what...
on the way, Mr. Kent. Well, looks like you and the lad are having a little heart-to-heart talk.
No, on the contrary, Barnaby. Jimmy here refuses to tell me what's on his mind.
Something, worrying the lad?
I'm afraid so.
Well, maybe it's something he'd rather keep to himself. Eh, lad?
Why... Yes. Yes, Mr. Barnaby.
After all, Mr. Kent, a secret's a secret. Eh, lad?
Oh, I didn't mean to pry. If I know Jimmy, he'll tell me what's on his mind in good time.
Oh, he will, eh? Well, what do you say to that, lad?
Oh, no. I mean,
Well, lad, you're all messed up. Here, now, we'll take your mind off your troubles. Let old Teak show you a new trick. Here, now, let's see. There we are. A little matchbox. A little wooden matchbox.
What are you giving it to me for?
Well, you just take it over near the deck house there. Go along now, and I'll show you a trick.
Okay, but I wish I knew what you're going to do.
What are you going to do, Barnaby?
Just a harmless little trick. All right, lad. Just hold the matchbox up now. Eh? That's right. Now, then...
Barnaby, that knife!
How's that, eh? Clipped the matchbox out of the lad's hand and pinned it to the wall with me knife.
Don't ever do that again, Barnaby.
Just a little trick, Mr. Kent. A harmless little trick.
Trick or not, you might have hit Jimmy with that knife. Accidents happen.
Not with old Teak Barnaby. I never hurt no one by accident yet. No, sir. Never yet hurt no one by accident.
Well, there's no mistaking Teak Barnaby's meaning. Jimmy's in a pretty bad spot. What would you do? Would you tell Clark Kent what you overheard in the crew's quarters? Well, be sure to hear the next episode in this thrilling adventure of the sea with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky. Look! It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Stay tuned next for Information Please.
It's 8:30.
It's 8:30 New York time. Time to wake up America and stump the experts. Each week at this time, you are invited by Lucky Strike to attend its inquisitorial free-for-all. For every question we use, Lucky Strike pays out $10 plus a copy of the new Information Please quiz book. If your question stumps us, you get $25 more plus a 24-volume set of the current Encyclopedia Britannica. Send your questions to Information Please, 480 Lexington Avenue, New York City. If our editorial staff edits your questions a bit, don't fret over it. If duplication, Information Please uses the question that was received first. And all questions become the property of Information Please. And now light up a Lucky Strike as I present our master of ceremonies, the literary critic of the New Yorker magazine, Clifton Fadiman. Mr. Fadiman.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, whatever happens on Information Please is completely unpremeditated. The questions are never seen in advance by any of the experts. And tonight, our experts include that terrific trio, Oscar Levant, pianist, composer, author, actor, Franklin P. Adams, verse writer and conductor of the New York Post's Conning Tower, John Kieran, sports expert and author of John Kieran's Nature Notes, and our guest you've met before on the screen, where she's often appeared with her famous husband, Charles Lawton. She's Elsa Lancaster, at present starring on Broadway in the play They Walk Alone. Now, before we start this evening, Information Please wishes to correct itself. Last week, I credited the Manx cat, who apparently has many friends, with only 3 vertebrae. And Mr. Kieran was polite but incredulous, and as always, he was right. Now, what I meant to say was that the Manx cat has 3 vertebrae in its rudimentary tail, and of course has any number of vertebrae in the rest of it. If there are any Manx cats listening in, our humblest apologies. Now remember, for each question missed, Lucky Strike rings up $25. And that's paid out to the sender, plus 24 volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica. We'll start the festivities this evening with a question coming from Lella Lawrence of this city. In what connection have you seen these words in print? Get 3 out of 4. Here are the words: Toto, Poco Poco, Hunka Munka, and Sen Sen. The first is Toto. T-O-T-O. Mr. Levant.
There was a clown called Toto.
There was a clown called Toto, but more recently you've seen the word in print. Mr. Kieran.
That's the female gorilla in the Ringling Circus.
Yes, who is has been mated to Gargantua.
Reluctantly.
Successfully. That's right. Now, if you saw the phrase Poco Poco anywhere, what would it mean to you? Poco Poco. Mr. Levant again.
It's either a resort or it has something to do with one of those dynamic... what does Mr. Ickes control? You know those big...
Interior?
No. The dam things. Those dam...
Yeah, be careful.
No, like Roosevelt
like
Dam.
the Grand Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Poco Poco?
Well, then let's settle for a resort.
No, I don't think so. As a matter of fact, Mr. Levant, it's a term you've often seen in reading sheet music. Mr. Kieran.
It means little by little.
Yes.
I know that.
Get it now, Mr. Levant? Mr. Kieran, what does it mean in music?
Same thing.
Same thing, little by little. I suppose, what, gradually, Mr. Levant?
Gradual.
Good enough. All right, you prefer the adjective. Hunka Munka, H-U-N-C-A-M-U-N-C-A. I'll give a quarter to anybody who knows that. Among the 4 of you, I mean. Hunka Munka. Any ideas, Miss Lancaster?
It's the name of a princess in a play. Is
what
that
play?
A Tom Thumb.
Right. That's right. It's the daughter of King Arthur and the wife of Tom Thumb in Fielding's play. I owe you a quarter, and you will get it if you'll wait just a minute after the performance. Very willingly lost. Sen Sen. Sometimes spelled T-S-E-N and sometimes spelled S-E-N if you're economical. Sen Sen. Mr. Levant.
Well, there's a bad breath remover called
That's
Sen.
right. Exactly what I mean. It's a scent used for sweetening the breath. That's quite right. And that gives us 4 out of 4 and sends us on to this question from Emma Stoltzberg of this city. Get 2 out of 3. In what literary or dramatic work did these ships have a prominent part? And here are 3. The first is the Jolly Roger. The Jolly Roger. The name of a ship in what literary work? Of course, it is the sign of Pirate. Mr. Adams, Mr. Kieran, what would you guess it to be?
Was that Gilbert and Sol?
No, not Gilbert and Sol. It's the pirate ship in Peter Pan, James Barrie's Peter Pan. Miss Lancaster, do you remember that?
Of course it is.
I saw it dawning in your eye. I should have
know.
waited. That gives us one wrong. Have to get the next two right. The good ship Cotton Blossom. Mr. Adams.
That is the ship of Showboat.
You bet. In Edna Ferber's book. That's quite right. And the ship Pandora. Pandora. Well,
S. Pandora?
Yes. I don't know what its initials were. Miss Lancaster.
It's Captain Bligh when he went on his second trip, wasn't it?
Yes, in search of Fletcher somebody.
In search of Fletcher.
Christian,
isn't it? Yes,
that's right.
Yes,
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Mutiny on the Bounty. That's very good, Miss Lancaster.
Well, I ought to know it, oughtn't I?
You ought to know it with Mr. Lawton having appeared as Captain
You a
Bligh.
castaway in that picture?
Well, that gives us 2 out of 3 and sends us safely on to another question coming from Mrs. Henry Howard of Los Angeles. Get 2 out of 3 again. Now, I'm going to give you the last word of each of several lines of the chorus of an old song. That is, the rhyme words at the ends of the lines. Sing or quote the complete set of lines. Here's the first set of end rhyme words. Allow, now, dear, here. All you have to do is give me what comes before.
How's that go again?
Allow, Mr. Adams, now, dear, here. How's that giant brain, Mr. Adams?
I think that's the chorus of My Mother Was a Lady.
It is. Can you give it to us?
And you may have a sister.
Yes, you're beginning in Medias Res. Would you begin with My Mother Was a Lady and
My
make it
mother
respectable?
was a lady, like yours you will allow.
Can you help him out, Miss Lancaster?
And you may have a sister who needs a protection now. I've come to this great city to find a brother dear, and you wouldn't dare insult me, sir, if Jack were only here.
Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. I wonder whether you can do as well on this one. This is harder. Here are the rhyme words at the ends of the lines. Same, shy, alack, back, I. There are 5. Miss Lancaster.
Oh, Jane doesn't look.
You're right. Go ahead.
Same. When she left the village, she was shy.
Can you sing it for us? You don't if you do as well as Mr.
her
Adams,
golden
it'll
hair was
pass.
hanging
But
down
alas
the back.
and alack.
Well, you may do it together, you know.
Oh, Jane doesn't look the same.
When
she left the village, she was shy. But alas and alack, she came back with a naughty little twinkle in her eye.
There you go.
There was a parody that ended, and the golden hair was hanging up to dry.
Is that a parody of it? How does the parody go?
And the golden hair was hanging up to dry.
That's all you're going to tell me, you mean? All right. Miss Lancaster, you and Mr. Adams make a very nice team. Oscar, you must get Balaban and Tats after sometime. Here's another set of rhyme words. B, I'm not stuttering, and fair. In other words, the end words of the first 3 lines are B, and then fair.
To be or not to be or not to be, fair.
To steal. How about it? Well, here's the way this one goes. Oh, dear, what can the matter be? Remember that now, Miss Lancaster?
Yes.
Can you go on with it?
Oh, dear, what can the matter be? Oh, dear, what can the matter be? Oh, dear, what can the matter be? Johnny so long at the fair.
That's very
But
pretty. I
I didn't think of that fair.
Well, I know. Well, we don't give you credit for it, but we have 2 out of 3 on it. That's Mr. Adams and Miss Lancaster. Now, how about this one? It comes from Mrs. Walter F. Stauffacher of Monroe, Wisconsin. Again, get 2 out of 3 if you can. As you know, the well-known screen actress, Betty Davis, seems to thrive on tragic roles. What was her misfortune in the following motion pictures? And the first one was Juarez, or Juarez, if you will, Mr. Levant.
Well, as Maximilian's wife, whose destiny, I think, was guided by Napoleon III in Paris, then he was ratted on by same. She went to France to intercept, or to plead,
for some protection. While there, he kind of took care of her so she went quickly crazy.
That's right. What a nice plot sense you have. That's right. She went mad.
Great saving of time not to go to a movie to listen to that boy.
Only good on Friday nights, though, Frank.
I want to correct Mr. Adams' snobism. It was a very excellent play by Werfel.
I'm sure it was.
Maximilian.
Yes, that's quite right. Who, in the screenplay Dark Victory, what happened to Miss Davis? Anything dreadful happened to her, Miss Lancaster?
Went blind, didn't she?
Yes, as a result of what?
I didn't see it. I just read the review.
You're just guessing that's what happened to her? Mr. Levant.
She had a brain tumor, which ain't funny, McGee.
No, it isn't so funny. Except it was just on the screen, you know, Mr. Levant. Don't get worried. And how about the screenplay Dangerous? The screenplay Dangerous, what happened to her there? Now, we've got her mad, we've got her blind.
Will she be offended if I missed that one?
We got 2 out of 3. Let's give her a break. In Dangerous...
You're probably home that night.
all that happened to Miss Davis... All that happened to Miss Davis in Dangerous was that she was a dipsomaniac.
Well, that's fun if you can afford it.
Drunk to you, Mr. Levant. That's 2 out of 3, which again is sufficient for our purposes. Now, how about this one? This comes from Jane King of this city. I'm going to give you 3 different arithmetical operations. Tell me what happens as a result of them. Explain what you get when you divide the mental age by the chronological age. You get a result, of course, and what's that result called?
PQ. IP. PQ.
Well, let's pick out another set of initials, and you're all right, Mr. Levant.
IQ.
IQ.
Yeah.
What does IQ mean, Mr. Adams?
Intelligence quotient.
The intelligence quotient. That's right. Did any of you, Miss Lancaster and gentlemen, ever take one of those tests?
They don't know where I live, I hope.
That was after my time, thank heaven.
Mr. Kieran, did you ever take an IQ test?
Never did.
Very interesting for you to take.
Couldn't qualify.
I bet you could do all right on it. Now, suppose you divided the numerator by the denominator and multiplied by 100. What do you get?
You know the government something.
What do you get when you do that? You divide the numerator by the denominator and multiply by 100, and what you get is called what?
100 times the denominator.
Well, you get what's called percentage, Mr. Adams. Get 8%.
Not necessarily.
Oh, yes, you do. You try it sometime in the still of the night and see whether you don't get a percentage. Now, suppose you multiply the diameter by pi, spelled P-I. What do you get, Mr. Kieran?
You get the area of a circle.
Take it easy.
The circumference.
Ah, yes.
Pardon me.
The circumference of the circle. How would you get the area?
Oh, that's a tough operation. I don't want to go into it.
I don't think it's very hard, Mr. Adams.
You would multiply pi by the square of the radius.
Yes, it's very simple. Pi r squared, Mr. Kieran, that's all.
Well, it'll run out, depends on how fine you want it. It'll run out to about 34 decimal places.
Oh, you mean to get the value of pi?
Mm-hmm.
We usually work with how many places?
3141739 and so on, I think.
14159, I think.
159.
There was a man, by the way, who actually worked it out to several thousand decimal places and died loony. He really did. You can find out all about it in the textbooks. Well, that gives us 2 out of 3. How about this one? From Ann Kraft of Dallas, Texas. In what play or movie do these visits occur? Get 3 out of 4. Now, in the first case, a dustman, that would be garbage man in our language, drops in on the home of a professor and strikes a bargain. Miss Lancaster?
Pygmalion.
Pygmalion, yes, that's quite right. What was the bargain about, Miss Lancaster? Do you remember?
I do.
Mr. Levant?
About, yeah.
Well, do you want to take it, Miss Lancaster?
No, you do it.
Well,
how nice you both are.
Professor Higgins was kind of, he wanted to make a deal so that he could reorient the sounds of her voice so that she would be considered cultured. Right. And he made a deal with her father. Liza Throttlebottom. What was her name?
Doolittle. Easily confused with Throttlebottom. That's very good, Mr. Levant. Now, how about this one? Another visit, unexpected visit. An iceman drops in to deliver ice. Fooled you that time, Mr. Levant. And stays for 8 years.
Oh.
And stays for 8 years. Where, Mr. Levant?
You can't take it with you.
That's right, yes.
Is he the inventor of the firecracker man?
I've forgotten. Do you remember, Miss Lancaster?
No.
I think he's the man that washes the windows.
No,
that's a different
so.
play.
No, he's not a window washer.
That's
How about this one?
June Moon.
A poet crashes the room of an invalid and acquires a wife. Where would you find that? Miss Lancaster?
Elizabeth Barrett's room, again.
Yes, who is it that does the
Robert
crushing?
Browning.
Robert Browning, the poet, and gets Elizabeth Barrett as a result. Mr. Levant.
I would be wrong, but interestingly wrong if I said Marchbank's in Canada, which is completely incorrect.
You'd be all right except for the fact that it's not an invalid and he doesn't get it. Yeah, otherwise it's right. Boy, don't you and I work
Arms
together.
in the Man? Isn't there
I
something
beg
like that
pardon?
in Arms in the Man?
I don't think there's an invalid there. It's a soldier that enters in Arms in the Man. And I don't know whether he gets the girl or not.
When he gets in.
I've forgotten the plot.
Her resistance is low, that's all.
Now, in this case, Miss Lancaster and gentlemen, a vagrant visits a schoolhouse and disrupts the class. Mr. Adams.
That was Mary's Lamb.
Yes, Mary's Lamb would be a very good response. There's another one. Miss Lancaster, can you
I was
recollect?
in a film called The Beachcomber.
It was in a film called The
Charles,
Beachcomber.
Took one of the young girls away.
That's right. You say that very gently. He disrupted the teaching which was done by yourself in that
right.
film. Is that right? Well, now let's see where we are. So far, we have lost exactly nothing and given out no sets of the encyclopedia. Now Mr. Cross covers a lot of territory as he brings us reports from the tobacco market.
Yes, Mr. Fadiman, my reports take us as far south as Florida and as far west as Tennessee. They show that all over tobacco land, the American Tobacco Company pays higher prices and gets the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder tobaccos. For example, at Morristown, Tennessee, during the past season, the American Tobacco Company paid 33% more per pound for the tobacco it bought for its cigarettes and other tobacco products. Yes, 33% above the average market price paid for all the various types and grades of tobacco sold there. And the best we bought will go to Lucky's. At Valdosta, Georgia, American paid 41% more. At Lake City, Florida, 46% more. At Wilson, North Carolina, 53% more. And so it goes at market after market all over tobacco land. Lucky Strike consistently pays higher prices and gets the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder tobaccos. Have you tried a Lucky lately?
Mr. Cross, you covered tobacco land in just 60 seconds by my watch. And now suppose we go on with a question from C.W. Halleck of Denver, Colorado. Can you recite lines of poetry, let's say from 3 different sources, about a fool or fools? We're very near to April Fool's Day, and we want to be timely. Mr. Kieran.
A fool there was, and he made his prayer. A rag and a bone and a hank of hair, right out of Oscar's mouth.
Right out of my head.
That's a very good one. Now, Mr. Levant, did you have another?
You know that's all I know about a fool.
All right, then you just sit on your laurels. Mr. Adams.
I met a fool in the forest.
Ah, very good. Yes, what's it from?
As You Like It.
As You Like It. Thank you, Miss Lancaster and Mr. Adams.
What about Fool's Paradise? What comes from there?
Just Fool's Paradise, just a phrase.
Romeo and Juliet.
Is it from Romeo and Juliet? Well, then Mr. Levant is right, isn't he?
If he recites Romeo and Juliet,
we'll
save
give
me
him credit. Miss Lancaster, did you have another one for us about fools or a fool? It doesn't have to be poetry. It can be a proverb or a famous line of prose, perhaps. We have 3. Any ideas, Mr. Kieran?
Well, there's the word fool in Loxley Hall. Fool, again the vision, again the something wild. I'm sorry, I can't give the full quotation.
Paid in full.
There's no fool like an old fool.
Yes, no fool like an old fool. That's 2 fools. Yes, a double fool. Mr. Levant.
Mine's no good. It was paid in full.
All right, I'll take it. That sends us on to this question from Ruth K. Friedrich of New York City. This is a musical question, Miss Lancaster and gentlemen. What ballet is usually associated with this familiar work, part of which is now going to be played? We have to get 2 out of 3 if we can. Here's the first. We have one hand, Mr. Levant's hand.
That's Invitation to the Waltz by Von Weber, and it's in a ballet called The Spectre and sometimes Billy Rose. The Spectre and the Rose. It's a duet. It's supposed to be of the old school.
Spectre de la Rose, and who's famous for having appeared?
Well, all solo dancers. Nijinsky.
Nijinsky is the most famous name.
That's the fat part.
Very good. And now the second. Is that familiar to anyone but to Mr. Levant? It's very familiar. Mr. Kieran, do you recognize the melody at all, Mr. Levant?
I'll help. It's a Chopin A-flat waltz, and I guess it must be in Les Sylphides, but I thought it was a C-sharp minor waltz.
This is the one I have down on the card. You're right so far. Don't contradict me.
I know this is A-flat.
Yes, the A-flat waltz apparently is used in Les Sylphides, the famous ballet.
Well, that's a Chopiniana anyway.
Now the third and last. We have, by golly, a new hand. Mr. Adams.
That is the ballet music from Sylvia.
Very good. What's it called and who wrote it?
I think it's called a pizzicato something.
That's very good. And who wrote it, Mr. Adams?
Leo's his first name.
I don't know.
Well, you did very well.
John knows.
Mr. Kieran.
Delib.
Very good. Mr. Kieran, Mr. Adams, would you care to change seats with Mr. Levant? Well, that gives us 3 out of 3. Thank you very much. How about this one? We'll go from music to painting, shall we? This comes from Mary E. Titus of this city. Again, a 2 out of 3 question. What painting is said to have caused the artist to lie on his back for about 4 years? What painting is said to have caused that situation? Miss Lancaster.
In the Sistine Chapel.
Yes. The paintings on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Who painted them?
Leonardo.
Yes, and who, I beg your pardon?
Leonardo.
No. It's the other one that we all know. Michelangelo, yes. Michelangelo. And why did he lie on his back as he did the painting? Well, why did he do that? Would he choose to do it?
No.
Mr. Kieran?
Why,
he
there
was
a
the contortionist.
There was the scaffold built up there with horizontal planks so that the ceiling was then within reach of his paintbrush.
Yes, I suppose it was so curved that you couldn't paint it in any other position. Now, what painting is said to have caused the artist to go into bankruptcy?
The painting itself?
The painting itself, yes. Trick question. It's not easy.
Is it one of those Rivera paintings?
No, it is not. But it's a painting done by a man whose name begins with the same letter as Rivera.
Really?
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. The letter is R.
Rembrandt.
Now, and what is the painting?
I have no idea, but it's the only other R I know.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. I think I'll have to supply the information myself. Rembrandt, among other paintings, did one called The Night Watch. A number of citizens of his native town were in it, and he put so many faces in shadow, and his subjects was generally so displeased with the way he painted it that as a result he lost a lot of his clients and went into bankruptcy. Did you know
Martin
that?
did that in a picture called Rembrandt, which was very good.
You should have remembered that, Mr. Levant.
Miss Lancaster should have remembered it.
Now, we have to get the next one or fail. What painting is said to have caused the king of one country to take a bride from another country? Said to have caused the king of one country to take a bride from another country. Mr. Kieran.
Would that have been a Holbein portrait?
Yes, it was. Yeah. And of whom?
It was Henry VIII.
Well, the painting was not of Henry VIII.
No, it was of...
Remember now, Miss Lancaster?
Anne of Cleves, was it?
Yes.
Yes.
How do you know, Miss Lancaster?
Well, I played the part.
Ah, yes. You see, all you have to get is a hint from Mr. Kieran, you remember your whole past. And in the story, do you remember, Mr. Kieran, was he satisfied with the painting?
He asked who put that, who inveigled him into marrying that Flemish horse.
Yes, be careful, Mr. Kieran.
Flanders mare.
Well, Flanders mare, a Flemish horse, it's rather close.
Yeah. Now, Miss Lancaster, you'll find Mr. Kieran outside of this program one of the most charming and courteous of men. That's right. That gives us 2 out of 3. Herbert Rosen of Oil City, Pennsylvania, sends this one in. It's a question about disappearances. Get 2 out of 3. In what work of fiction does each of these disappearances occur? In the first case, a police inspector disappears into a river. Mr. Kieran.
Les Miserables.
Who does the disappearing?
Javert,
as Miss Lancaster reminds us. And into what river, Miss Lancaster?
In the Seine.
Into the Seine, yes. Why does he do that, Miss Lancaster?
Because he's pursued up to that point by his own conscience, I should say. I mean, it's rather a long business to account for in a few words, isn't it?
Well, I think you've accounted for it very well, Mr. Kieran.
Because he let Jean Valjean go, and he felt that in doing so, he had failed as a police officer, and the only way out was to kill himself.
Yes, and of course it also provides a very good ending for the play. In the next case, a baby left in a handbag disappears from a railroad station. A baby left in a handbag disappears from a railroad station.
Sounds like Mickey Rooney can only do that.
Miss Lancaster.
The importance of being earnest.
Very good, Miss Lancaster. Yes.
What?
It's pretty hard to give the whole plot of it, and you didn't try.
Yes.
But that's the answer. In Wilde's play, The Importance of Being
Waterloo
Earnest.
Station or something.
That's right.
Ernest was left in the bag. wasn't
Very
he?
good,
Yes.
Miss Lancaster. You've got it quite right. Now, how about this one? A baker goes on a cruise and vanishes. A baker goes on a cruise and vanishes. Any ideas? Not easy. It's from Lewis Carroll's The Hunting of the Snark. Remember it now, Mr. Adams? Why did he vanish? Do you remember?
I don't know. The Snark was a boojum.
That's right. That's perfectly right. I wish you'd said that before. That gives us 2 out of 3. Robert S. Groom of Chicago sends this one in. On what musical instrument are the following things done? Get 2 out of 3. The first is smearing. Smearing.
A smear?
Yes.
You
Mr.
can do that
Levant?
on a trombone.
What is it?
It's a glissando, a slide, with a crescendo and then a decrescendo.
I still don't know.
Well, I have it in a piece of mine, but nobody likes the piece, so I can never hear it either.
That's pretty indefinite.
How about...
I can sing it, though.
How about fluttering? Fluttering. Yes, Mr. Levant.
Well, you mean fluttering or a fluttered tongue? Which?
Fluttering, it says here.
Well, on either 2 instruments. On a trumpet, you can do it on a flute, too, strangely enough.
Yes, on a flute or on a trumpet. Now, how about slap-tonguing, whatever that is? Slap-tonguing.
That's on a sax.
On a what?
Saxophone.
You sure?
A cornet.
You sure, Mr. Adams?
No.
Slap-tonguing?
Slap-tonguing, yes.
Why don't I know that?
I've got 1 vote for cornet and 1 vote for sax.
Not cornet. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, Mr. Adams.
I still think it's a cornet.
It ends with et, Mr. Adams.
Clarinet.
Clarinet. Yes, clarinet's the answer. Well, I think that's about all we'll have time for. And now, here's Mr. Cross with proof that those tobacco markets we heard about a few minutes ago are typical.
You recall that the American Tobacco Company, to get finer, lighter, milder tobaccos, paid 33% more than the market average at Morristown, Tennessee, 41% more at Valdosta, Georgia, 46% more at Lake City, Florida, 53% more at Wilson, North Carolina. Now, just to show you how typical those markets are, I have here reports from a total of 119 different tobacco markets. Markets that handle 96% of all the cigarette tobacco sold at auction in this country. And at every one of these markets, Lucky Strike last season paid higher prices and got the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder tobaccos. Perhaps that helps you understand why the independent tobacco experts choose Lucky's for their own cigarette by such an overwhelming majority. Those buyers, auctioneers, and warehousemen see Lucky's pay higher prices for lighter, milder leaf. And so, with these independent experts, with men who know tobacco best, it's Lucky's 2-to-1.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. We take a very special pleasure tonight in announcing that, I think for the 4th time in our venerable history, we have lost exactly nothing and paid out no sets of the encyclopedia, with the very able help of Miss Lancaster, whom we thank for attending our party this evening. Next week, Mr. Kieran and Mr. Adams will be on hand, and as our guests, we welcome the world-famous foreign correspondent, John Gunther, who has just recently returned from South America, and Lyman Bryson, well-known moderator of the radio program The People's Platform and professor of adult education at Columbia University. Now remember, for every question we use, whether or not it's answered correctly, the sender gets $10. If the question stumps our experts, you not only get $25 more, but in addition, the complete 24-volume set of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Send letters with questions and the correct answers to Information, please, 480 Lexington Avenue, New York City. And now we shall have a parting message from Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs, the famous tobacco auctioneer of Goldsboro, North Carolina.
And that chant, fully interpreted, ladies and gentlemen, means Lucky's pay higher prices for the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder tobaccos. With independent tobacco experts, auctioneers, buyers, warehousemen, with men who know tobacco best, it's Lucky's 2-to-1.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Stay tuned next for Gangbusters.
Sloan's Liniment, your faithful friend when muscles ache in pain, presents Gangbusters.
Calling the police, calling the G-men, calling all Americans to war on the underworld.
Gangbusters, brought to you, the men and women of America, by the makers of Sloan's Liniment. With the cooperation of leading law enforcement officials of the United States, Gangbusters presents facts in the relentless war of the police on the underworld. Authentic case histories that show the never-ending activity of the police in their work of protecting our citizens. America's crusade against crime. In a moment, we'll be ready for our proxy interview between Colonel H. Norman Schwarzkopf and Judge L.D. Miller of the 2nd Division Criminal Court of Chattanooga, Tennessee, who will tell how the mad joyride of the gun-loving nickel and dime bandits terrorized the entire Mississippi Valley. But first, we all know that these are the last few weeks before warm weather, when our physical resistance is apt to be at its lowest ebb, not forgetting resistance to muscular aches and pains. If you expose yourself to chilling winds and drafts, or you're working harder than usual, make sure you have a bottle of reliable Sloan's Liniment in the house. Like a heat treatment, this world-famous Pat-On Liniment will help you find quick and comforting relief from the distress of sore and aching muscles. For more than 50 years, Sloan's has been the family friend in need, easy to apply and quick-acting. All you need do is pat on some Sloan's Liniment. That's all, just pat it on and relax. In a very short time, you'll feel that penetrating warmth soothing and easing your stiff muscles. If your bottle of Sloan's Liniment is almost empty, jot down a note on tomorrow's shopping list to ask your druggist for Sloan's Liniment. Now for our proxy interview between Colonel Schwarzkopf and Judge L.D. Miller of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Picture our setting as a special office turned over to Gangbusters by Commissioner Louis J. Valentine of the New York City Police. Colonel Schwarzkopf.
Judge Miller, I understand that Charleston and Rogers, the nickel and dime bandits, were hunted by the police of 6 states.
Yes, Colonel Schwarzkopf. Actually, 8 different police departments were after them within a period of 30 days.
But why do you call these particular criminals the nickel and dime bandits?
Well, Colonel, James Carlson, the brains of the combination, had a theory of crime different from any criminal in all my experience.
I got a new slant on stick-ups that'll pay big dividends. I'm going to get me a smart partner that knows how to use a gat. Then we're going to go through the Mississippi Valley pulling little jobs, nickel and dime jobs. When we pulled enough of these nickel and dime jobs, we'll have just as much jack as if we'd stuck up a dozen big banks.
On December 4th, 1939, following a term at Minnesota State Reformatory, Charleston drove up to a roadside tavern near Minneapolis. The owner was talking to a customer.
Be right with you, mister. Anything else, sir?
Oh, that'll be all, Bill. Charge it, will you?
With a fancy car like that, you want me to charge it, huh?
Something else fancy right behind you, pal. Turn around.
What? Look out, Bill. He's got a gun.
A special kind of gun, mister, with a hair trigger. Come on, both of you. Back up into that hot dog joint before I turn this cannon loose on you. I want your dough.
Oh, I got some change.
Give it to me.
Here you are.
Now, you. Open up that cash register.
Here. $35. It's all I got.
I know it ain't. Scoop out that change and stick it in my pocket.
Nickels and dimes, huh? I'd like to see you for 5 minutes without that gun. Here's the change.
Thanks, wise guy.
Now get out of here.
Not so fast, you. Empty your pockets.
Pretty brave, aren't you, with a gun?
Yeah, and it's liable to go off any minute.
No sawed-off punk's gonna take my dough.
I warned you, wise guy.
Bill! You're not getting away from me.
I'll show you.
Give me that gun. You're all through, punk.
Let go of me.
You hurt?
Let go of me.
Yeah, I guess so. Pretty bad. I stopped all 3 of those bullets, but I got his gun.
You're gonna need a doctor. What'll we do with this guy?
Lock him in the washroom.
Yeah, you'll make it all right?
Yeah, sure. Now, I got the special gun, you rat.
Yeah.
Give me back my money.
All right. Here you are.
Now, come on, you into the washroom.
You'll never get me to jail.
Inside, punk.
Okay, wise guy.
I'll lock it and then phone the police.
Better get an ambulance, Bill. You're bleeding bad.
Hello, operator. Get me the police.
Sit down, Bill.
What's that? The washroom window.
There. Out front. There he goes.
He's in his car. Stop! Stop or I'll shoot! Oh, it's jammed. That guy's special pistol jammed and saved his own life.
It is rare, Judge Miller, for the victim to turn on his assailant at gunpoint and disarm him.
It is, Colonel. Fortunately, the wounds of the tavern owner were not serious. Charleston made a dash for Chicago, where he went into partnership with another criminal named Joe Rogers. Together, they stole a late model car and started south, blazing a trail of robberies from Illinois to Louisiana. On the night of December 17th in Blytheville, Arkansas, Charleston and Rogers committed an unusual robbery, showing a peculiar obsession.
Blytheville, Arkansas. Robbery. 2 men broke into a house and stole a large collection of pistols, automatics, shotguns, and rifles. Seen escaping in blue or black Dodge sedan. Notify all gun dealers to be on lookout for unusual weapons of foreign make.
A few days later, Colonel, Charleston and Rogers were in Minneapolis, waiting in a stolen new Buick sedan across the street from a small apartment house.
Boy, this is the life, huh, Rogers?
You said it, Charleston. Cops and newspapers screaming about us from here to New Orleans. Nothing for us to do but sit back and take it easy.
I'd sure like a drink right now.
Yeah, so would I. Wish that baby of yours would hurry up.
It's only 10 past 11. I told her to sneak out at 1:15.
She made up her mind to come with us?
Hope so. You know me, Rogers. Wine, woman, and song.
Yeah, I know. But when are we going to quit this small-time stuff and go after something big?
Like what?
Banks.
Forget it, Rogers. Knock over a bank and every cop in the state's after you.
Just think of the dough we could pick up in banks. All we've been getting to places you pick as chicken feed. Nothing but nickels and dimes.
There's nothing you can't buy with nickels and dimes, Rogers. If you got enough of them.
Sure, but we could...
There's no buts to it. It adds up, see? And the rap for little jobs is nothing like it is for a bank.
But in one bank job, we
Listen, sap.
Hey, take it easy, will you?
Banks have guards, and the guards have guns and tear gas. They have balconies to ambush bank bandits. And they have burglar alarms to call the cops. Don't you see, we can get as much in a flock of gas stations as we could in a dozen banks. And no risk.
Maybe you're right.
The way I figure it is...
Hold it, Charleston. Here comes your girlfriend.
Oh. Hello, baby.
Hello, Jim. Gee, I'm glad to see you.
You and me both. Get in the car.
Okay.
This is my pal, Joe Rogers.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
How are you?
Oh, what's up? Where are we going?
We're going south, kid. How'd you like to go with us?
South? Oh, gee, I'd love to, but what about my folks?
Send them a postcard.
Yeah.
Just say, having a wonderful time. I wish you were here.
Say, what are you guys going to do?
We got special ideas. Swell clothes, good liquor, and plenty to keep us busy. What do you say?
I say, what are we waiting for?
Baby, you're going to be perfect. Let's go, Rogers.
Where to?
Back to New Orleans, where it's nice and warm. But we're going to make some stops on the way. And where we stop, nobody's ever going to forget us. This'll be a joyride to remember.
That was near midnight, Colonel, on December 21st, 1939. 3 days later, Chief C.R. Bryan of the Chattanooga, Tennessee Police was sitting in his office when Police Captain Homer Edmondson walked in with a message in his hand.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning, Chief Bryan. This just came in on the teletype. Thought you'd like to look at it.
From Sweetwater, huh?
Yes, sir.
Arrest 2 men wanted here for robbery of roadside cafe this morning, 3 a.m. One man about 20, weight 150, blue eyes, light hair. The other one, older, weight about 140, dark hair, slender. Both bandits wearing leather jackets.
That's a pretty complete description, Chief.
These bandits took $60 in currency, cigarettes, liquor, and a large amount of nickels and dimes. They're heavily armed. Large amount of nickels and dimes. That sounds familiar.
You're right, Captain. This is the 6th report in the last few days that used those exact words.
Yes, and each report was nearer Chattanooga. Have you broadcast this message to the patrol cars?
Yes, sir. Right after it came in.
Send it out again, Captain. This is the first good description we've had of those men. If they try anything here, I want every man on the force to be waiting for them.
Right, Chief.
Wait a second. Chief Bryan speaking.
Send some cops over quick, Chief. I've just been robbed.
Who's this?
Jack Parker. I got filling station at Main and Watkins. I just opened up 10 minutes ago and 2 guys walked in and...
Hold on a minute. Captain, there's been a holdup over at Main and Watkins, a filling station. Send a patrol car over there right away.
Right away, Chief.
Go ahead, Mr. Parker. What happened?
These 2 guys walked in, Chief. They both wore leather jackets. They had 4 guns between them and they cleaned out the cash register.
How much did they get?
$7. Almost all small change.
Nickels and dimes, huh?
Well, I know it don't sound like much, Chief, but it's a lot to me.
Mr. Parker, I don't care if it was 7 cents or $7 million. If these bandits are the men I think they are, they're going to try to pull some more jobs like this here in Chattanooga, and we're going to get them.
The next afternoon, Colonel, the woman manager of a small dry goods store in Chattanooga saw 2 men, apparently customers, walking into her store.
May I help you, gentlemen?
Yeah, let me see some shirts. The best you got.
And I want to see some socks and ties.
Certainly, right over here. What size shirt, sir?
15 collar, 34 sleeve.
And I want size 11 socks.
Here they are. Just take your pick.
That's just what we're going to do, sister. Stick 'em up.
Oh, hold up.
Take it easy, sister. One peep out of you and I'll drill you.
Please.
Get down on the floor behind our counter. And don't move if you want to live.
Yes,
Pretty fancy-looking socks, pal.
Get some for me.
What kind of shirts you getting?
Silk, the most expensive I can find.
Better make it fast.
Okay. These here look swell. Green silk. You ready, pal?
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, sister, where's your cash register?
There in back of the counter. But there's only
I know. There's only a little change. That's what they all say.
How much, pal?
$10 and about 5 and change.
Thanks for the service, lady. We'll be sure to tell our friends about you.
And remember, sister, if you move off that floor before we're out of this store, it'll be the last time you ever move.
Exactly 44 minutes later, Colonel, in a Chattanooga liquor store on the other side of town.
Will that be all, gentlemen? Just the 3 bottles of whiskey?
No, that ain't all, mister. Reach for the ceiling.
What do you want?
Don't shoot him, pal. The cops might hear you get.
All right, keep them covered.
Okay. What are you going to do?
I'm going to teach you not to be so nosy. That'll teach you to ask me what I want.
Oh, now, please don't kick me again.
Come on, pal. Let's get out of here.
Get the dough.
Okay.
Take everything, even the small change. How much is it?
Yeah, there's about $90 here. Hey, here's something else, pal.
Yeah?
A nice new gat for your collection.
Say, not so bad. Different from any I got. Maybe I ought to try it out on this wise guy.
No, please.
Okay, mister, but just so you won't run after us, here's something more to remember us by.
Oh.
That brutal holdup was the third the nickel and dime bandits committed in the heart of Chattanooga within 24 hours, Colonel. It redoubled the efforts of the police to catch Charleston and Rogers and resulted in a gun battle that Chattanooga will long remember.
We're anxious to hear about that gunfight, Judge Miller. But before we proceed with this case, Charles Stark has a few words for us.
Banging and straining at a stuck window is a familiar and unpopular exercise. The stiff back or sore shoulder you so often get after such overexertion is equally unpopular, but much more quickly remedied. For all you have to do is pat on some Sloan's liniment, relax, and let Sloan's penetrating warmth ease away your ache. You'll discover, as so many millions have in the past 50 years, that Sloan's 1-2 heat treatment will bring you the quick and comforting relief you want from muscular aches and pains. It's so easy to use Sloan's. 1, pat on this quick-acting liniment. 2, rest for a few minutes. And as you relax, you'll actually feel a glowing warmth helping your tight and painful muscles to throw off this stiffness, just as though you were taking a heat treatment. Always have a bottle of Sloan's handy on your medicine shelf. Muscular aches and pains often strike without warning, and a dependable bottle of Sloan's liniment is so welcome when you need quick relief. And now back to Colonel Schwarzkopf.
Now, Judge Miller, you were saying that the Chattanooga police and the Nickel and Dime Bandits engaged in a memorable gunfight.
Yes, Colonel. Law enforcement officers within a radius of 50 miles of Chattanooga cooperated. At a special meeting of police representatives at the office of Chief C.R. Bryant, all possible angles were discussed.
Fortunately, men, we have a complete description of these 2 bandits and definite identification clues.
What are they, Chief Bryan?
Well, first, Sussman, there's the nickel and dime angle. So anyone seen spending an unusual amount of silver is a definite suspect. Then there's the gun angle.
The gun angle?
It's this, Frazier. These men are crazy about guns. They take pride in them. Not just as weapons, but as items to collect.
So the bandits might just show off their guns sometime without staging a holdup, huh?
Particularly if they'd been drinking.
That's still another clue, Chief Bryan. The amount of liquor they consume, judging by the amount they've stolen.
And the girl with them. The one that's been seen in their car. Now, we have her description.
Right, Captain Edmondson. These are all valuable clues, men. And we have one other advantage. From what these bandits have said to their victims, they don't expect the police to go after them seriously.
Just because the thefts have been relatively small, huh?
Exactly.
That gives me an idea, Chief.
What is it, Edmondson?
Maybe we can get these bandits through a weakness in their own system.
How, Captain?
Let's give these clues to every reliable citizen in the vicinity of Chattanooga. Every small storekeeper. Then when the bandits do show up again, they'll be spotted immediately.
Good
Yeah,
idea.
that might get them. Yeah.
Well, then it's understood every available man is to stay on duty till these bandits are behind bars. I want them in custody before somebody gets killed.
Within 1 hour after that meeting, Colonel, merchants, filling station employees, liquor store proprietors, business people all over Chattanooga were planning to cooperate with the police.
Cooperate with police? Listen, I'm staying right here at the store. If those bandits come back this way, I'm going to be ready for them.
If those nickel and dime crooks come anywhere near me, I'm going to call the police. I'll know them if I ever see them again.
I'll be glad to cooperate. I've got a score to settle with those rats, and I'd like to see them both behind bars. If they ever come into my place, I'll be...
Nickels and dimes, eh? I get it. If those buzzards stick their noses in my place, I'll be waiting for them. You can count on me.
That night, Colonel, December 26, 1939, at the Rock Castle Roadhouse, 10 miles west of Chattanooga, the cashier, Bill Raper, was standing behind his counter.
Hey, yo, cashier.
Yes,
Come
sir?
on. I want a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We're not allowed to sell liquor in bottles, except to guests of Rock Castle.
I'm a guest here. Me and my pal are in one of the cabins right next door.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Sure. Here you are. That'll be $1.65, please.
You'll have to take it in change.
Change?
A fistful, buddy. Here.
$25, $50, $10, $20, $30, $55, $65. Right. Thank you, sir.
You bet it's right. Say, what are you staring at?
Oh, why,
See anything wrong with me?
No, I was just thinking what a good-looking green silk shirt you have on.
Oh, that. Yeah. Yeah, it is good looking. Everything I got's good looking. Look at this.
Hey, watch it.
Ah, don't be scared. I ain't gonna use it on you.
Boy, that's some pistol.
Bet your life it is. Special automatic. Only one like it in the country.
Yes, sir. Well, is there anything else you want?
Yeah, sure. I almost forgot. Give me some of those box lunches you got, huh?
How many?
Let's see now. 3.
Yes, sir.
3.
Here they are. You want me to carry them for you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm getting a little rocky.
Hey, Joe, take over, will you? Okay. I'll be right back. Let's go, sir. Now, which cabin is it?
Second one on the left.
This the cabin?
Yeah, I'll knock. Hey, open it up. Come on, open it up. It's me. Come on.
Pipe down, will you?
Come on, let me in. Where's Babe? Huh?
I reckon I'll be getting along, mister.
Yeah, sure. See you later, mister. Good night.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Operator, get me the police.
Police headquarters, Chief Bryan speaking.
Chief, listen, this is Bill Raper out at Rock Castle.
Yes, Bill?
Those 2 nickel and dime crooks you're looking for, they're here.
How do you know?
I'm positive, Chief. Every single clue you give me. The nickels and dimes, the guns, the liquor, everything checks.
Did you notice a car?
Yes, sir. It's a big, black, new 1940 Buick.
Where are they?
In a cabin right next door.
How many?
3 of them, sir. 2 men and a girl.
That's what I call fine cooperation, Bill. Sit tight and don't say a word to anyone.
Yes,
I'll send an emergency squad out there right away.
15 minutes later, Colonel, Captain Homer Edmondson, with a group of picked men from the Chattanooga Police Force, including Detective Shipley and Carson, met members of the county uniformed police under Captain Dyer outside the Rock Castle Roadhouse. The cashier, Bill Raper, was waiting for them.
Which cabin are they in, Mr. Raper?
That one with the lights on, Captain Edmondson.
All right, men. Sussman and Fraser, you stick with me.
All right, Captain.
Now, we'll go to the front of the house. Shipley, you and Carson cover the back with Captain Dyer. You got that?
Right, Captain. What's our plan, Captain?
Simply to close in and get those bandits. We can't start shooting till we're absolutely sure these are the men we want. But if they show the slightest resistance, open fire with riot guns immediately. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Watch it. They turned out the lights. Better stand back. I'll knock.
Open up.
Who is it?
Police.
Just a minute.
Hurry it up.
All right, coppers, come and get it!
Get back, man.
Captain, just listen to those bullets bounce.
All right, men, open up with your riot guns.
Right, Captain.
Get down low, babe. Those cops are using riot guns.
We'll fix them, Jimmy. I'll load your pistols.
Rogers.
Yeah?
Cover the back door. I'll cover the front.
Okay, Charleston.
Come on, coppers. Try and take us.
You'd better give up in there. You're surrounded.
We'll give up hot lead. Give me another gat, babe. This one's empty.
Here you are, Jimmy.
How is it in the back, Rogers?
Can't see him. It's too dark out there.
Well, they're all around us, Jimmy.
Keep down, babe.
Oh.
Babe, you hit.
Oh, my head.
Told you to keep down. All right, coppers. You got my gal. I'll show you can't get away with that.
Charleston, there's a copper creeping up in the back.
You cover the front, Rogers. I'll get that cop.
He's coming right up to the back door.
What are you going to do, Jimmy?
Shut up, babe. I'm running this show.
Up with your hands, all three of you.
I'm waiting for you, copper.
Jimmy, you killed him.
I'll say I killed him. I got his gun, too.
Jimmy, they got Rogers.
Lie down on the floor, babe. I'll get him for that. All right, coppers. I got one of you. Who's next?
Yes, Fraser?
They killed Shipley.
Shipley? How?
He broke in the back door, shot down before he had a chance.
Ah, the dirty dogs. Give me a riot gun, Fraser.
Yes, sir.
Mine's empty.
Captain, I'm going after him.
Now, wait, don't go up there. It's probably a trap.
There goes one of them out the side door.
Stop or I'll fire.
He's running for the woods.
I can't see him.
There, between those big trees.
Missed him.
It's so dark, I can't see.
Oh, we'll never find him in this darkness.
What do we do, Captain?
He might be hurt. Dyer, you and Carson follow him. I'm going to get some bloodhounds.
What's the matter with the dogs, Captain? Why are they stopping? Too dark for them?
I'm afraid they lost the trail, Fraser.
What, after we followed their bandit for almost 8 miles?
It's all right, Sussman. Those bloodhounds have told me just what I want to know.
I don't get you, Captain.
For the last 2 miles, the bandits' trail has followed right along these railroad tracks.
That's right.
But now we've lost it. I can't see what that
We're
is.
headed toward Chattanooga, not away from it. Doesn't that mean anything to you men?
You mean you thought maybe the bandit would jump a freight away from Chattanooga?
No, Sussman. I thought he'd head for Chattanooga, but I couldn't be sure. Now I know he's gone back to the city, where we can lay our hands on him.
With one of the nickel and dime bandits, Joe Rogers, dead, Colonel, and the bandit's girlfriend in a prison hospital, the Chattanooga police combed the city for the remaining bandit, now definitely identified as James Charleston. Later that night, after visiting hundreds of rooming houses, 2 police officers, Patrolman Fraser and Sussman, climbed the stairs of a cheap rooming house an hour after midnight.
What number did the landlady say, Fraser?
Room 6.
Yeah. It's room number 6, right up there at the head of the stairs.
Yeah. Landlady said her new boarder arrived an hour ago.
Have your gun ready?
Bet I will, Sussman. You turn on your flashlight. I'll try the door.
Right.
Door's unlocked.
That's lucky. Careful now.
Yep.
Easy. There he is in bed.
Sound asleep.
Wonder if he's the guy we want.
He's pretty young for a bandit. Let's make sure, Sussman. Pull down the covers.
A pistol there in his right hand.
And another one next to him.
He's starting to wake up. Grab him.
I'm with you.
Look on them. I didn't do nothing.
I got him, Fraser. Put the bracelets on him.
Charleston, you're all through.
You cops are crazy. I'm not the guy you want.
No. Turn on the light, Fraser. Let's see those two guns.
That don't prove nothing, copper. I didn't kill nobody. I like guns, see? I collect them.
Yeah? Well, this is one gun you never should have collected, Charleston. It's the gun you took from Detective Shipley after you killed him. And it's the last gun you're ever going to collect.
And so, Colonel Schwarzkopf, through splendid police work and excellent citizen cooperation, the criminal activities of James Charleston came to an abrupt end. Placed on trial in my court for robbery and murder on February 27th, 1940, he was quickly found guilty. I sentenced him to life imprisonment in the Tennessee State Penitentiary. He's there at this very moment.
And what happened to the girl who was with Charleston and Rogers, Judge Miller?
For months, she hovered between life and death with a bullet touching her brain. The doctor said her mental faculties would be impaired indefinitely, and under the circumstances, she was freed in the custody of her parents.
Thank you, Judge Miller, for a fine case. I'm particularly pleased with the way you brought out the great value of public cooperation with the authorities. When the police thus frankly solicit help from our law-abiding citizens, and those citizens promptly and comprehensively cooperate, no criminal can escape. Every time the police and the people work together, the end is inevitable. Crime does not pay. Now, before we broadcast our nationwide clues, a few words from Charles Stark.
Soon many of you will be spading the garden, digging into the rain-soaked ground and preparing your seeds and bulbs for spring planting. Of course, it's a lot of fun. But after the winter months you spend indoors, it's likely you'll pay for your fun with a crick in your back or an aching shoulder. Still, there's no need for you to suffer needlessly if you have Sloan's liniment in the house. For Sloan's famous 1-2 heat treatment is the quick and comforting way to get relief from muscular aches and pains. Here's all you have to do. 1, pat on some Sloan's liniment. 2, relax. And then, like a heat treatment, Sloan's penetrating warmth goes right to the root of the trouble, and in just about a jiffy, that ache eases away. Yes, Sloan's liniment is a true friend in need. Always helpful whether Dad has a sore back or Sister has a twisted ankle or Mother's complaining of a painfully stiff neck. Look at your medicine shelf tonight and make sure you have a bottle of Sloan's liniment handy. If you're all out of Sloan's, ask your druggist tomorrow for Sloan's liniment. And now, the clues.
Special bulletin, all citizens. Watch for murderer 24, 5 feet 5 inches, 135 pounds, dark brown hair slicked back, brown eyes. This man with tall, sandy-haired companion having wrinkled face, wanted for brutal murder several days ago, refrigeration engineer near San Antonio, Texas, may be traveling in black Ford station wagon, and may have in possession a .44 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver with cedar handle.
Warning, citizens of Pennsylvania, be on lookout for man 28, 5 feet 8 inches, 160 pounds, brown hair, gray eyes, occupation farmer. This man wanted in connection with feud slaying last week, Indian Head section of Fayette County, Pennsylvania.
If you have any information concerning these clues, notify your local police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or Gangbusters at once. For Sloan's liniment next week, the case of the missing corpse. Here, reenacted for the first time, the inside factual account of one of the most fantastic cases in all criminology. Learn how a dead man faced his murderer. Sloan's liniment brings you one of Phillips H. Lord's most astounding dramatizations in America's Crusade Against Crime.
Calling the police, calling the G-men, calling all Americans to war on the underworld.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Stay tuned next for Everyman's Theater.
Our scene, a doctor's office. The doctor, a genial middle-aged man, is smiling across his desk at young Mrs. Peggy Connon. And he's saying,
"Well, Mrs. Connon, I don't think there is much more I can say other than this. Don't be too afraid. This sort of thing has been going on since the beginning of time. Millions of women. So don't be frightened. Go home. Tell your husband. Be happy.
Thank you, Doctor. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Get the cab, man?
No, thank you. I'll walk.
Okay, man.
Walk. Yes, I'll walk. It takes longer when you walk. No longer to get home.
Baby.
Home. What will he say? What will he say?
Baby.
What will Bill say? What?
Oh, it's out of the question, Peg. Out of the question on the money I make. Now, look, this isn't confetti. It's bills for groceries, bills for laundry, bills for gas. I tell you, Peg, it's out of the question.
Out of the question. Out of the question. He'll say out of the question.
Baby.
What will he say? Oh, Bill, what will you say?
Hey, watch the lights, lady.
Oh,
Yeah. Watch where you're going, little lady. Them lights are for you as well as for the car.
what will Bill say?
What? What did you say? Say, you don't feel well or something. Your face, I mean.
Oh, I'm all right, officer.
Sure you don't want a cab?
No, I'm walking home.
Okay. But watch the traffic at the crossings.
If I take shorter steps, it'll take longer. Yes, shorter steps.
Do you realize it'll set us back for the next 5 years? We won't be living. We'll always be paying bills for doctors, for hospitals, for nurses, for this and for that. Paying.
Will he say that?
Things been going on since the beginning of time. Millions of women. So don't be afraid. Go home. Tell your husband. Be happy. Be happy.
Happy. Doctor said that, didn't he? Happy. Bill, we have been happy.
Rowing. I don't think I'm going to row anymore. Too hot.
Uh-huh.
Just drift. Now, what was I talking about?
Happiness.
Oh, yeah, happiness. I think that the most important thing in life is to be happy. Don't you?
Oh, yes, Bill.
Now, you take ordinary people. On a day like this, what are they doing? Working in factories, working in offices, working. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But the park is here, the lagoon is here, the boats are here. Man, if they just had a little common sense, they'd say, the devil will work, we're going to be happy. And they'd come out here and they'd go boat riding.
4 million people. The lagoon would be awfully crowded, wouldn't it, Bill?
No, I'm serious. All right, so I'm not working today, so I'll have $5 less. But I'm doing what I want, and I'm happy.
I'm happy, too, Bill.
Are you? Honest, Peg?
Uh-huh.
Oh, gee. When I think that only 2 days
And
ago,
I wasn't even going to the dance.
I took one look at
Oh,
you.
that's a song, Bill.
Oh, it's the truth. Oh, gosh, I'm happy about you, Peg. I'm happier than I've ever been in my whole life.
Happy. We have been happy.
Make perfect. Let's try that kiss again. Da-da-da-dee-dee-dee. We're not.
Oh, Bill. We're good.
You mean we're loud? Loud.
Don't drive so fast.
Oh, I'm in a hurry.
Why, Mr. Bone?
I'm on my way to get married. I'm on my way to get married.
Bill. Bill thinks you've been drinking.
I have. 4 Cokes, a double malted, 2 kisses, and a marriage license. Yippee!
Bill, behave yourself.
Oh, no. The bride and the bridegroom spent a happy night in jail. Hey.
Huh?
Starting to rain. Shall I put the top up?
Oh, no, please.
Huh?
Want the rain in my face. Oh, it's wonderful, Bill. The wind and the rain. I feel as if I were flying.
Oh, this is Angel.
You know, all my life I thought that if I ran away to get married, I'd be so frightened. But I'm not afraid the least little bit. I love you, Bill. And everything's wonderful, and I'm so happy. So happy. We've been so happy.
Should I, Peg? Should I?
Well, I don't know, Bill.
Well, speak up, Mrs. Collin, or forever have to hold your peace.
Spent 30 cents already.
Oh, I was only warming up. One more time, and I know I can hit it.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, mister, I'll try her again.
Here you are, son. Once for a dime. Knock down the top bottle and win the little lady a great big beautiful doll.
Okay, Pete.
Here I go.
Oh, you hit it, Bill, you hit it.
I told you I would. Okay, mister, pay off.
What'll it be, little lady? A Kewpie or a Popeye?
Popeye.
Here you are.
Thank you.
You can do the same, ladies and gentlemen, with a great big beautiful doll.
Bill, isn't it cute?
Yeah. Hey, let's sit down over here.
All right.
Oh,
Darling, you're wonderful.
wonderful. And hungry.
Oh, Bill, after 4 hot dogs, 3 sodas, and all those peanuts, you ought to be sick.
I am, but I'm hungry.
Bill.
Bottomless Bill from the Ozarks, that's me.
Bill, you're so crazy, and I love you so much.
You talk like that, and I'll kiss you right in the middle of the midway.
Double dare you.
Hey, maybe there's a law against kissing your own bride.
Maybe there's a law against being so happy.
You got the prettiest little funny face.
You know, I used to think that when I got married, I'd be going to the French Riviera, Honolulu, and, well, you know, places like that, and here I am, Luna Park.
Oh, Peg.
No, darling, you don't understand. I like it. I'm happy about it. Why, I'll bet there are thousands of women who've been to all those famous places who'd give every minute of it to be in my place with someone she loves and who loves her. Women are really awfully simple people, darling. They want love. And I've you, and I'm happy. Terribly happy.
Go home. Tell your husband, be happy, be happy, be happy.
I could be happy. Mother. Peggy Connon. Mother. Mother. My mother. Mother.
You mark my words, he'll never make a good living for you, never. No drive, no ambition, a worthless young man. Never make a good living for you, Peggy. You'll never have anything. You mark my words, just mark my words. For the last time, listen to me, daughter. Now, if you marry that boy, you'll cry a great deal more, believe me. Oh, stop crying, Peggy, and listen to me. Someday you'll be a mother, and you'll understand that I'm telling you these things for your own sake. When you have children of your own, you'll understand.
Understand what, Mother? Understand what? Should I understand now? If you were alive, could you make me understand now? Well, Bill's all right. He's all right, I tell you. It's just that he used to laugh. Laughed all the time. But how can he laugh now?
Red gas, dentist, light, coffee. Red gas, dentist, light, coffee. Bill.
That's what I don't understand, Mother. Doesn't the world want people like Bill who can laugh? Must everyone be wonderful at making money? Isn't there a place for people like Bill who don't want a great deal? Can't things be so that they can make the little they need without growing so old and tired they forget what it is to laugh? And be happy at just being alive.
Fine mess. We're in a fine mess. Where will we get the money? Where will we get the money, Peggy? Where will we get the
No.
money?
Gotta stop thinking things like that. Got to. Think about him.
Shine, lady. Shine, mister. Shine.
What will he be?
Tomorrow creeps in its petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Our brief candle lights but a walking shadow. Of course.
Oh, no. No.
And so, my fellow citizens, standing here in profound humility, where so many of our truly great have stood, all there is left to say is this. In accepting this high office, and in assuming the leadership of our great nation in these troubled times, I pledge myself...
No.
that moment, he realized he no longer loved semicolon. In that moment, the past with her, comma, last year, hyphen, benched moment, comma.
Maybe.
And so it is with a great deal of pride that this network brings to you the premiere radio performance of the world's premier violinist, David Conant.
Maybe.
And my diagnosis of the patient only confirms my profound belief that such diseases can be cured.
Maybe.
So, an investment of these issues with my concern will net you a profit of not less than the sum of twice your investment.
Oh, no. Oh,
Silly Peggy.
You used to say that, didn't you, Mother? Silly Peggy. Because I laughed at the wrong time. Maybe I laughed then. Maybe I'm laughing now because I'm afraid.
It's happened to women for millions of years.
No, not that. Pain goes quickly, I know it, but... Bill. What'll Bill say? No, stop thinking. Stop thinking. Walk slowly. Very slowly. What was I thinking? Oh, yes, my boy. I'll be so much wiser by the time he grows up. Give him advice.
Yes, Mother. Of course, Mother. Yes, I'm listening. You're wonderful, Mother. Oh, you're right, Mother. Just as you say, Mother.
No, not like that.
You're wrong, Mother. I will not, Mother. I won't do it, Mother. No, Mother.
No, not that way.
Why, Mother? Explain, Mother. Tell me if you know, Mother. Why is it like that, Mother?
Yes. Look like. What will he look like?
Lovely child.
May I hold him? Looks like you.
His father's hair. Beautiful child. Beautiful child.
Beautiful child. Yes, why not? Why not? David Conant. Beautiful child.
Baseball, read all about it. War crisis, war in Europe. Read all about it.
War.
Baby.
Bill, what if he says it?
Read the newspapers, I tell you. Read the newspapers. There's your answer. Raise them up so they can blow them up. The answer's in your newspapers, I tell you, Peg. Raise them up to blow them up.
What can I answer him? I'm not good at answers. If Bill says that, what'll I say?
So I said to him, I said, Joe, I will not go for a ride. And he said, why not? And I said, why should I? And he said, well, if you don't, when will you? So I give him a smile, you know. And he said, you look here, Helen Young, if you speak up.
Girl. Maybe it'll be a girl. Yes, why not? Girl.
Mother.
A lovely girl.
Mother, you think my dress hangs right? Isn't it too long? Or is it too short? Don't you think I would have it made a little freer here?
No wars. Killing, dying, just...
Mother, do you think I ought to go out with him after what he said to me? Mother, I don't think that's a good school. Really, I don't.
Cannon fodder,
Mother.
bomb fodder. Raise them strong and blow them up. What's the good of it, Peg? What's the good of it?
No, can't be like that. Not with a girl. Ruth. No.
Anna.
No.
Nina.
No.
Elizabeth.
No.
Carol.
Yes. Carol Conant.
Carol Conant, the season's prettiest debutante. Carol Conant, beautiful young. Carol Conant is nationally known.
What could she be?
Mother, do you know all about babies? You know. After all, look at me. Well, I was wondering about Junior. He won't eat his cereal. He won't touch his bottle. I don't know what to do. I simply don't know what to do.
Maybe.
Carol Conant, opera, tonight. Curtain, 8:30.
Yes.
daughter.
And you didn't want...
My daughter.
Oh, you'd be so proud of her, Bill. You would. Almost there. Walk slower. Oh, Bill, don't get angry when I tell you. God, don't let it be angry. I couldn't stand it if he yelled at me. I couldn't. I'm afraid. Bill, if you knew I was afraid, you'd help me, wouldn't you? Afraid of you. That's not right, is it? Walk slower. Walk slower. If, when I get there, Bill, and you look at me, if then, for the first time in my life, I can say everything I've been thinking before you have a chance to say anything, then you'll understand how I feel, and because you love me, you won't say anything that'll hurt me, and you'll take me in your arms. Oh, Bill, but I can only think things. I can never say them clearly when they should be said. Maybe everybody's like I am. Talk when it's too late. But this time I've got to talk now, right away. The minute I get in the house, because if you talk first and say things that hurt me, you and I will never... Oh, Bill, all I want is to be happy, just a little. Everything's so mixed up all over the world that... Bill, all I know, all I want is...
You say something, Mrs. Collins?
Oh, Mr. Tomasi.
What's the matter? You walk right up past the house, huh? Yeah, maybe you think you don't live here no more, huh?
I was so preoccupied, I didn't notice.
Sure was a hot day, huh, Mr. Collins?
Yes, it was. I don't like to go in.
Oh, but your husband, he's at home, huh?
Home?
Sure, he come about 10 minutes ago. I'm going to see him go upstairs.
It is late, isn't it?
Sure. You put it in the girl, but when a husband come home from work and a wife are not at home, sometimes you get plenty mad, huh? I bet you're scared, huh?
I'd better go up.
Hey, I'm going to come up before you soon and fix that water faucet.
All right.
Yeah? Who's going to stop?
You think I'm afraid of you? Go on and hit me. Hit me.
Will you shut up?
I'll talk all I want to talk.
Oh, yeah?
What else have I got to do with this stuff but talk? I'm sick of this stuff. Hear me? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Good evening, Mrs. Collins.
Good evening, Mr. Gold. You're playing very well tonight.
Yeah. In 60 years, even a fool learns to do something.
Oh.
To go to sleep. Just a little bit. Oh, good evening, Miss Conlon. Hot tonight, yeah?
Yes. The baby all right?
Oh, yeah, lots better. See?
It's so tiny, isn't it?
You like a baby, Miss Conlon?
Well,
Yeah, I know. They look like lots of trouble, but you bet you for people who had got little babies, the whole world.
Yes.
Believe me, baby's good. Good. Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Maslow.
Peggy, is that... Peg.
Bill.
Gosh, Peg, where you been? I've been worried stiff.
Was it just walking?
I got home. There was nobody here. I was ready to do a calling all cars, so help me. What, are you going to stand here by the door all night? What's the matter, Peg? Oh, honest, I don't care if there isn't any dinner. See, I'm so full of love for you tonight, one potato to me, and I'd pop like a kid's balloon.
Bill, I want to
No,
tell you...
wait, I'm going to tell you.
Me?
Yeah, come on over by the window. Phew, it's hot. There. better. Nice breeze to keep you cool while I burn you up with the news right off the press.
News. Bill,
Flash. Ambition comes to Billy Connon.
Bill, if you'd let me tell
How
you...
can you tell me when I'm trying to tell you? Now listen, sweet funny face. Today, the great lords of industry unlocked the octopus long enough to hand Billy Connon, now hold your breath, $5 more a week.
Bill, I've got...
Yes, so help me, $5. Oh, is that terrific, Peg? We move right into the upper brackets, got everything we want.
Bill, please listen to me.
Yeah, sure, as soon as I finish my say. Now, I got to say it, Peg, because I've been kind of getting up steam to say it all the way home from the office. Now, all this may sound a little screwy to you, but here goes.
Bill, I want to tell you today...
Oh, please, funny face, don't interrupt to tell me about the bargain you saw today, because, well, if I stop talking, I'll lose my nerve, and then maybe I won't ever say it again. Peg, this $5 a week. Now, that's over $250 a year. And I began thinking right away how we could spend it.
Spend?
Yeah, you know me. So I got thinking about maybe we'd get another car. But the old jalopi's pretty good yet, and then I thought maybe we could take a cottage someplace. But then I don't get a vacation until next year. So, then I got thinking... Oh, heck, what's the matter with me? Why should I be afraid to talk to you?
There's no reason to be afraid. Is there, Bill?
Of course not. See, what I'm trying to say is that... Well, look at the newspaper headline.
The war, yes, I thought
we're all
about...
going to smash, maybe. So I got thinking, the heck with it. There isn't time enough to go anywhere or plan anything, and who wants money anyway? So, how can we spend it to make both of us really happy? You know, to make our lives... I mean, if one of us should die before the other, make our lives mean something.
Mean something.
Oh, Peg, I got to say it faster. I won't be able to say it at all. Peg, let's spend the money for a kid. Oh, Peg, what do you look at me like that for? Oh, I know we never talked about it, but... Well, I was kind of scared of the idea, and I didn't know if you'd want one. Well, Peg, for Pete's sake, say something. Looking at me. Well, what did you want to tell me before? Say that at least.
Oh, Bill. Bill. Wait till you hear.
What a great program. What a great night of radio. You know, two of my favorite radio writers were Arch Oboler and Norman Corwin, but you can always tell Arch Oboler's style. He uses that stream of consciousness method, and it just really played out in this Everyman's Theater episode that we just heard. You know, he's always known for his horror writings, but this is a great example of his versatility and him doing the dramatic writings. He even wrote some comedy. If you ever hear the Adam and Eve sketch, the infamous one on with Charlie McCarthy and Mae West, check it out. I'm sure it's up somewhere on eBay, or it's from December 13th, 1937, I believe, if you need to Google it. So, or type it in the search bar on YouTube here. I used to have it up on my old channel. I don't have it up here right now. I probably will eventually, but I just don't right now. Too much going on. So anyway, that is what we have. I'll tell you what we have for March 28th, 1941. That's the way it was. I will tell you what we have coming up tomorrow in just a little bit. If you enjoy the content on this channel, not only subscribe, but please donate to its upkeep. Because of the vintage old-time radio, films, and music that we feature, this channel does not qualify for YouTube monetization. Help motivate us to keep posting this wonderful content and seeking out more. We'd like to think that this channel is more interesting than any other nostalgia channel of a similar type. Help us keep going by donating. In the description section of this video, you will find a secure link to PayPal. Any little bit helps. Thank you for your support. If you love old-time radio, film, and music, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications as to when a new upload will premiere. If you are interested in World War II as much as I am, check out our other channel, the World War II newspaper channel. Expand the description section to this video and you will see a link that will take you there. Now I'd suggest listening to the latest upload to decide if it's your thing. Over there, you will hear the Chicago Tribune read to you for between 90 minutes to 2 hours. You will get a much more detailed look about what it was like to actually live through World War II than I can give you just by sharing radio broadcasts. You will not only hear detailed news of the big battles and historical events, you will hear trivial facts about the war. You will hear news from the United States home front from the early stages of U.S. mobilization and war protests to Pearl Harbor and the ramping up of the war machine to the final victories and reconversion. You will hear every facet of American life change forever. I'm Henry Chop, your host. Come back again tomorrow night when we spotlight March 29th, 1941. And it's a Saturday, of course, because tomorrow is Saturday, right? And we don't have a whole heck of a lot of stuff tomorrow, but the highlights, of course, well, the highlight is the hit parade, and we also have a special. I'll tell you about that in a second. We are going to start out with Jungle Jim and Front Page Drama, our regulars that have been since almost the inception of my old channel back in 1938. Both of those have been Saturday staples. And then we're going to have the Peabody Radio Awards. That's about a 20-minute program. And then following that, of course, we are going to have the Your Hit Parade Jukebox with me as the disc jockey as we count down the top 10 records of the week. How has your favorite record done? Do we have a new number one song? What new songs are on the charts? What's old songs dropped off? We will find all of that out tomorrow night. So until then, let's turn off this old tube radio. That's our time machine. Good night. God bless.
This changing world, this changing scene, where is it taking us? What does it mean? As long as we're certain of each other, we know we don't have to be afraid. These changing times we rise above. We have no time for them. We have our love, and love is the only thing that still remains the same through all this change.